Chapter 2796. The old turtle and Jiu Fei had joined forces to attack the West Dark Sea in an attempt to open a path to the mortal realm. However, this battle had alarmed countless experts in the heavenly and mortal realms. The terrifying might of the extreme Tao spread through the two realms. It was unknown just how many super old antiques were startled awake from their slumber. What's going on? The timing isn't right. This shouldn't be happening. There were super ancient beings who woke up from their slumber muttering to themselves. The divine might of the extreme Tao was vast and mighty in the heaven realm and the mortal world. Was this a sign that a great change was about to arrive? Are those people coming back? In the depths of the devil domain of the far north, a figure sitting cross-legged on a yin-yang taiji diagram opened his eyes. This was a supreme powerhouse who had suppressed the devil cave of the far north all by himself. This was the ruthless person who had reversed life and death with the yin-yang jade pendant that Jiu Fei had obtained. It's not time yet. Could it be that little fellow's doing again? In the depths of an unknown mountain range in the mortal realm, the aura of the ghost Tao was vast and mighty. The entire region was shrouded in darkness. Even during the day, the sunlight couldn't penetrate the darkness. In the depths of this region, a black temple floated in the air above the mountain range. A white-robed man with a crown on his head sat on the throne. This person was Ghost Emperor Fengju. In other regions of the mortal realm, powerful existences were also roaring. At the same time, a sigh came from the depths of the immortal fiend abyss. In the celestial realm, all the cultivators couldn't sit still. The extreme Tao's might was so mighty that even the monarchs were horrified. Many old antiques immediately set off for the West Dark Sea. This, in the southern mountains, Yuan Hong, who was fighting the ancient celestial emperor's clone, couldn't help but be alarmed when he sensed the boundless might of the extreme Tao. The ancient celestial emperor took advantage of Yuan Hong's momentary distraction to pull away from him and crush a jade talisman. In the next moment, the ancient celestial emperor vanished from the void. What? Yuan Hong wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Preposterous. Yuan Hong muttered to himself. This primordial heavenly the arch was simply too cunning. After that, he did not go to the courtyard in Luoxia City. Instead, he found a big city and used the teleportation platform in the big city to leave the southern mountains for the western underworld sea. Yuan Hong was naturally very curious about what had happened in the western netherworld sea. While all the cultivators in the heaven realm were focused on the netherworld sea, Jiu Fei and Old Tortoise, the protagonists of the incident, were in big trouble. Rumble, the entire absolute heavenly slaughter formation was circulating furiously, causing the spirit chi of heaven and earth to crazily gather over. The three supreme figures exuded an extreme aura. These three figures were working together to fight against a supreme death figure. The figure of death displayed supreme battle prowess that caused the world to pale. It was actually able to attack and defend even under the combined attacks of three supreme saint artifacts. Although it was at a disadvantage, it could turn the tables at any time. Bang! The thin daoist transformed from the purple-gold divine sword struck out with his palm, sending the figure of death flying. Swoosh! At the same time, a dark light descended from the sky and directly struck the head of the figure of death. The figure of death was shocked and hurriedly tilted its head. The dark light struck the figure of death's shoulder, but there was no scene of blood splattering. The dark light dissipated and a big black blade could be seen striking the figure of death's left shoulder. The most powerful creature in the forbidden zone reached out and tried to pull out the big black blade that had slashed into its shoulder. However, at that moment, the big black blade erupted with an extremely powerful and domineering power. Buzz! The black blade vibrated. In the next moment, half of the body of the powerful dead spirit immediately turned into a cloud of blood mist. The right half of its body fell from the sky and with a plop, it fell into the netherworld sea. The power of the peerless blade was indeed terrifying. At this moment, the blurry figure that had evolved from the Grand Sovereign Seal swooped down from the sky and slammed its palm into the depths of the netherworld sea. Rumble! The heavens and earth shook. The huge hand directly shattered everything below it, shattering the void and sending out chaotic chi. This was the power of the Grand Sovereign Seal. Boom! Everything was destroyed. A destructive force at the level of extreme Tao surged out from the depths of the western underworld sea. Several black temples that were still hidden in the underworld sea were instantly shattered by the giant hand that had evolved from the Tai Huang seal. The pitilessly powerful dead spirits in the black temples were directly destroyed in body and soul. Ji Yufei, the old turtle, and Ming Qiong, who had been grabbed by Ji Yufei, were all doing their best to activate the slaughter of heaven formation of death. They gathered the essence of the world from all directions, causing the extreme power within the three supreme saint weapons to continuously recover. At this moment, even the world could not withstand the might of the extreme path from the three supreme saint weapons. Huge black cracks the size of mountains appeared in the sky. Roar! With a roar, boundless deathly aura surged. The extremely powerful dead spirit that had its left side shattered by the peerless blade broke out of the netherworld sea and charged out. Kill! The dead spirit seemed to have fallen into a state of madness. It directly charged towards the blurry figure of the invincible emperor formed from the Grand Sovereign Seal. Bang! The figure formed from the Grand Sovereign Seal pointed out with a finger, and the dead spirit immediately exploded. Its body was pulverized, and a dark light wrapped around a figure that shot into the sky in an attempt to escape. Do you think you can escape? Ji Yufei just happened to see this from within the slaughter of heaven formation of death. He could not help but be moved. If the power of the supreme saint weapons were to be awakened, it would be far too terrifying. It was as if a supreme saint had personally descended. As expected, there was no suspense. A dark light slashed out, and the soul of the dead spirit was immediately destroyed by the peerless blade. It was dead. An extreme-level dead spirit had died just like that. Its soul had been destroyed by the peerless blade. With the death of the dead spirit, the entire netherworld sea became somewhat different. However, even Ji Yufei could not tell what had happened to the Forbidden Zone. Haha, good, we've finally succeeded. The old turtle laughed excitedly. He had prepared for so long, and all his efforts did not go to waste. The netherworld sea had actually been leveled by him. When the news spread out, everyone was stunned. The netherworld sea was a forbidden zone that had existed since the ancient times, but it was leveled by Ji Yufei just like that. Everyone felt like they were in a dream because the news was too unreal. Some even thought that it was a prank, a scam. However, the truth was the truth. Ji Yufei and the old turtle had really leveled the netherworld sea. This was the netherworld sea, the place where the exit of the ancient path to heaven was located. Opening the path to the mortal realm was the old turtle's goal. For this goal, he had put in a lot of effort. The slaughter of heaven formation of death was not so easy to set up. Today was a very important day for all the cultivators in the heaven realm and the human realm. Because the path to the mortal realm had finally been opened. Very quickly, a saint from the human realm appeared at the exit of the ancient path to heaven. It was an old man. He was extremely excited, and his body was trembling. Chapter 2797. Everyone was dumbfounded that the old tortoise had really flattened the forbidden area. Before this, no one was optimistic about the old tortoise and thought that it was impossible. However, the old tortoise succeeded. The flattening of the West Underworld Sea was a major event that shook the entire heaven realm and the entire human world. The impact of this event was far-reaching. The path to heaven was finally open. Without the obstruction of the West Underworld Sea, the heaven realm's forbidden area, cultivators from the heaven realm and the human world could travel freely. The path to heaven had become a true path to heaven and was no longer a dead end. Of course, the old tortoise could not have flattened the West Underworld Sea alone. Without Ji Yufei's full help, the old tortoise would not have been able to flatten the West Underworld Sea. At this time, the endless power of death condensed in the West Underworld Sea was constantly being erased by the absolute heavenly slaughter formation. However, this was, after all, an ominous domain formed by a supreme being's inner world after his death. It was not easy to completely erase the power of death. Ji Yufei and the others killing the strongest undead in this area was only the first step to flattening the forbidden area. At this time, the West Underworld Sea had dried up, revealing countless skeletons that had been submerged in the bottom of the sea for countless years. Throughout the years, No one knew how many creatures had fallen here. Among the skeletons, there were beast bones as large as mountains and ancient corpses whose flesh and blood had not melted. Some of the ancient corpses were extraordinary. They were dressed in ancient clothes and their corpses were immortal. When they were alive, they were definitely extremely powerful beings in the world, but they had fallen here. The absolute heavenly slaughter formation enveloped the entire West Underworld Sea, drawing upon the essence of heaven and earth from all directions to continuously refine the aura of death in the West Underworld Sea. Anyone who wanted to enter the heaven realm or the human world needed the old tortoise's approval. After all, no one dared to break into the absolute heavenly slaughter formation recklessly. At this time, the three supreme holy weapons were still guarding the three formation cores. Although the weapons had quietened down, they still emitted a faint aura of the supreme path. Even the faint and extremely weak aura of the supreme path was not something that ordinary saint-level beings could withstand. Even a quasi-supreme being would not dare to break into the formation recklessly. Do you want to go to the mortal world? In the middle of the killing formation of the heavens, a divine island was floating. In the center of the divine island was a valley. There were pavilions, small bridges, and flowing water. It was like a fairyland. In a pavilion, Old Tortoise was drinking with Gu Fei. Your proposal is very attractive. Gu Fei smiled and picked up the glass. Don't you still have a saint tool of the extreme Tao with Renhuang Jiang in the human realm? Don't you want to get it back? Old Tortoise gave Gu Fei a meaningful look. You mean the mountain and river cauldron? Gu Fei said with a smile. Then, he gulped down the immortal wine in his cup. Ha ha. Old Tortoise also smiled, but he did not say anything. Then, he lifted the wine pot and filled the cup in front of Gu Fei. The fragrance of wine lingered in the pavilion. Are you thinking about the mountain and river cauldron? Gu Fei said. He knew Old Tortoise too well. This guy would never do anything without benefits. However, he did not know what this guy was thinking. Haha, look at what you're saying. We're brothers. What's the difference between us? Old Tortoise laughed. Say it. Gu Fei went straight to the point. Old Tortoise was being nice for no reason. It seemed that something was wrong. If things were as difficult as this time, Gu Fei would not have agreed to help. This time, he almost lost his life here. Actually, I know a place with great fortune. I just don't know if you're interested. Old Tortoise hesitated and said, Mitch, if there's a great fortune, you would have gone there yourself. Why would you ask me to go with you? Gu Fei said with a look of disbelief. Haha, am I that kind of person? Old Tortoise blushed and said. That place is not easy to enter. Gu Fei said indifferently. You even know this? Do you have the ability to predict the future? Old Tortoise pretended to be surprised and said. Sure enough. Gu Fei said with a look of understanding. This guy really encountered a problem that he couldn't solve, so he thought of me. This guy is really a bastard. Sigh, I really can't hide anything from you. Old Tortoise said with a sigh. He also knew that it would not be easy to fool Gu Fei. Gu Fei was not someone who could be easily fooled. Say it. Gu Fei said. Then I'll say it. The Old Tortoise then told him a true story. It was a place where one could obtain great fortune, and it was a legendary place. The legend of the primordial era was true because he had been to that place before. Back then, when the Supreme Emperor was invincible, Old Tortoise had been to every place in the world. He could even go to those dreaded forbidden areas. The Supreme Emperor was an invincible expert of an era. He was a supreme being. There was no place in the world that he couldn't go. Old Tortoise was the son of the Supreme Emperor. He had followed the Supreme Emperor to a place that only the Supreme Experts could enter. Only the Supreme Experts can enter. It's useless for you to find me. I'm not a Supreme Expert. Hearing this, Gu Fei was confused. He was not a Supreme Expert, so he was not qualified to enter the legendary place that Old Tortoise mentioned. Well, there is actually another way to enter that place. Old Tortoise said. You mean the mountain and river cauldron? At this moment, Gu Fei understood. Old Tortoise said so much for only one purpose, and that was to get the mountain and river cauldron. That's right. Old Tortoise nodded and said. Looks like I'll have to make a trip to the mortal world. Gu Fei said. You have to. Old Tortoise nodded and said with a solemn expression. You have to. You can go if you want, but I'm not going. Gu Fei said in a displeased tone. Well, brother, it's not that I don't want to go, but that Jiang Renhuang won't give me face. If I go, I definitely won't be able to get the mountain and river cauldron. Old Tortoise was a little anxious. Don't say anything else. Give me the reward first. Otherwise, there's nothing to talk about. Gu Fei said. He almost died this time, and Old Tortoise hadn't given him the reward yet. If it wasn't for him, Old Tortoise wouldn't have been able to level the West Ming Ocean. Here. I'll give it to you right away. Old Tortoise took out a jade bottle and handed it to Gu Fei. Gu Fei took the jade bottle and uncorked it. A powerful breath of life immediately rushed out from the jade bottle. The red spirit light turned into a blood dragon shadow, hovering above the mouth of the bottle. Not bad. Gu Fei stuffed the bottle and put it away. What do you want the ancestral dragon real blood for? Old Tortoise asked. He was very curious. The ancestral dragon real blood couldn't improve Gu Fei's cultivation, nor could it be used to refine his body and make his martial body more powerful. Because Gu Fei's martial body was already strong enough. Even the ancestral dragon real blood couldn't make his martial body more powerful, unless it was the extreme true blood. Extreme true blood wasn't easy to get. Even if he got it, Gu Fei couldn't use it. Because the extreme true blood was too powerful and overbearing. It contained the essence of an extreme supremacy. Not everyone could refine this kind of true blood. The ancestral dragon wasn't an extreme supremacy. The ancestral dragon was still a distance away from that level. To some extent, Old Tortoise was also an ancestral dragon. In fact, what was in the jade bottle was Old Tortoise's true blood. It's a secret. Gu Fei said. Alright, I've given you the ancestral dragon real blood. Can you go to the mortal world? Old Tortoise said in a pleading tone. I'll think about it. Gu Fei said. He wouldn't agree so easily. After all, he didn't know what the situation was in the mortal world. He didn't know if Jiang Renhuang was still in the mortal world. In fact, he also wanted to go. After all, his forces were in the mortal world. He had to gather those people, especially Li Lingfeng's life and death. Gu Fei never forgot what he wanted to do. He wanted to rebuild the Taishen sect and gather his former sect members. However, this was definitely not an easy task. However, for Gu Fei, no matter how difficult it was, he had to do it. Gu Fei and Old Tortoise continued to drink. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. A guest came to the Shimming Sea. The man claimed to be Gu Fei's brother. The people of the demon clan didn't dare to be negligent. Soon, Gu Fei got the news and came out to greet him. Brother Monkey, it's you. When Gu Fei saw the man, he couldn't help but be surprised and happy. Brother, how have you been? Yuan Hong directly walked up and hugged Gu Fei tightly. Gu Fei directly welcomed Yuan Hong into the absolute killing formation. Monkey, what are you doing here? When Old Tortoise saw Yuan Hong, he didn't have a good expression. Old Tortoise, can't I come to see my brother? Yuan Hong glared at Old Tortoise and said. Old Tortoise snorted coldly and didn't say anything more. I was wondering why this Old Tortoise was so fierce. He could actually flatten the Shimming Sea. So that's how it is. Yuan Hong said with a look of sudden realization. Monkey, what do you mean by this? Old Tortoise was unhappy. I don't mean anything. It's the truth. Yuan Hong said with a shrug. You, Old Tortoise seemed to be angry. Alright, the two of you are like two fighting cocks the moment you meet. Do you want to have a fight? Gu Fei said snappily. Monkeys and tortoises really couldn't get along. Well, brother, for your sake, I won't lower myself to the level of this Old Tortoise. Yuan Hong said. I won't lower myself to the level of a monkey. Old Tortoise said. Haha, that's good. We're all good brothers. Let's go have a drink. Chapter 2798. Yuan Hong's arrival made Ji Yufei very happy. Ever since they parted ways, Yuan Hong had gone into seclusion. They only met again today. On the Divine Island, Ji Yufei and Yuan Hong drank to their heart's content. It was rare for them to get drunk, but in the end, they passed out in a pavilion. With Ji Yufei's cultivation, how could he be drunk? He was drunk in his heart, so he was drunk. When he woke up the next day, Yuan Hong had already left. This surprised Ji Yufei. He asked the old tortoise and found out that Yuan Hong had gone to the human world. What? Ji Yufei was startled. Yuan Hong had gone to the human world? What was going on? Very quickly, Ji Yufei found out the reason from the old tortoise. It turned out that in ancient times, there was a golden spirit ape who descended to the human world and left behind descendants. Yuan Hong wanted to descend to the human world to search for the golden spirit ape's bloodline. There were very few golden spirit apes in the entire heaven realm. Apart from Yuan Hong, there was probably no other golden spirit ape. He hoped to find his own clansman in the human world. It seems like I really have to go to the human world. Ji Yufei stood in the pavilion and looked at the sky outside. From time to time, a divine rainbow would flash across the dusky sky, illuminating the world. The absolute heaven slaughter formation was still erasing the remaining deathly aura in the West Border Ocean. The West Border Ocean was indeed a land of death after the fall of a sovereign. The deathly aura inside was too great. It was not easy to completely refine the deathly aura here. You should have gone long ago, the old tortoise said. He couldn't wait for Ji Yufei to go to the human world and retrieve the mountain and river cauldron. Then, he could venture into that place and obtain a great fortune. The old tortoise was extremely excited at the thought of the great fortune in that place. It was a heaven-defying fortune. If he could obtain it, he might be able to take that step forward. I have to go back to the southern mountains, Ji Yufei said. His wife and daughter were still in the southern mountains. He could not leave them in the southern mountains. One must know that he had many enemies in the heaven realm. Especially Yuan Jiyu, the celestial emperor of the eastern land. Of course, Yuan Jiyu was no longer fit to be the celestial emperor of the eastern land, because his territory had already been occupied by the old tortoise. All right then. The old tortoise directly took out a formation platform. He had long been prepared. He could travel between the Netherworld Sea and the southern mountains. This was also the reason why the old tortoise was not in a hurry to go back and help when the ancient celestial emperor attacked the courtyard of Luoxia city. Buzz. When Ji Yufei stepped on the teleportation platform, the entire platform immediately emitted a bright divine light. His whole body was instantly wrapped in the divine light, and he instantly escaped into the void, crossing the domain. Far away in the southern mountain range, in the courtyard of Luoxia city, a transmission array suddenly emitted a bright divine light. Then, the void above the transmission array suddenly collapsed, and a figure directly walked out of the void. In the backyard of the courtyard, Ji Yuling, who was staring at the lake in a daze, suddenly stood up and took a step forward. In an instant, she arrived in front of the transmission array. Father. When Ji Yuling saw the figure that walked out of the void, she couldn't help but be surprised and happy. She fiercely jumped into the arms of the person. At this time, a figure appeared in front of the formation platform. This person was Yang Er. She also felt the fluctuation here and immediately rushed over. Pack up, we're leaving. Ji Yufei patted Ji Yuling and said. Then, he and Ji Yuling walked down from the formation platform. Where are we going? Yang Er came forward and asked. Back to the human realm. Ji Yufei said. What? Uncle Old Tortoise succeeded? He conquered the Netherworld Sea. Ji Yuling couldn't help but exclaim after hearing this. She had to admit that she was really surprised. The forbidden area of the heaven realm had existed since ancient times. Even a sovereign would find it difficult to conquer it. Ling Er, go and bring the two children here. Yang Er said to Ji Yuling. Yes, mother. Ji Yuling hurriedly walked away. Is the path of the heavenly mortal really open? Yang Er looked at Ji Yufei and said. She remained calm as usual, as if nothing could disturb her state of mind. The cultivators of the heaven realm and the human realm can travel freely now. Jiyu Fei nodded and said. He had contributed greatly in conquering the Netherworld Sea, but in return, he had obtained a drop of the ancestral dragon's true blood. It might not be a big deal for Xiaoqing, but it was extremely important for his disciple, the Red Dragon. However, when the South Heaven Celestial Monarch rebelled, the Red Dragon and the Jade Moon were taken away by the unaging demon child and Heaven Monarch Ziyang. Even now, no one knew where they were. However, Jiyu Fei believed that there might be some surprises after returning to the human realm. The situation in the human realm was just as complicated. To some extent, it was even more complicated than the heaven realm. The experts of the human realm were no weaker than the experts of the heaven realm. Really, that's great. Yang Er said. Her eyes flickered. No matter how pure she was, she could not help but be moved after hearing the news. She clearly knew that when Jiyu Fei was trying to overcome the heavenly tribulation in the heaven realm, he had to ask Jiang Renhuang of the Jiang clan for help. Without Jiang Renhuang's help, it was hard to say if Jiyu Fei could even make it to the heaven realm. Meanwhile, Jiyu Ling had arrived with Zhao Hao and Yang Er. Greetings, Master. Greetings, martial ancestor. Zhao Hao and Yang Er immediately bowed when they saw Jiyu Fei. Alright, is there anything else you two need to prepare? If not, we'll be heading to the Netherworld Sea right away. Jiyu Fei said to Zhao Hao and Yang Er. Zhao Hao and Yang Er's physique was excellent. Their cultivation speed was not bad either. Zhao Hao's cultivation was about to break through to the immortal king realm. Yang Er's cultivation was similar to Zhao Hao's. However, she had an innate Dao Eye. Even if her cultivation was similar to Zhao Hao's, Zhao Hao would still be no match for her. However, what made Yang Er depressed was that she had to call this boy of the same age as her martial uncle. Martial ancestor, I want to go to Luoxia City. Yang Er said. You want to say goodbye to your grandfather? Jiyu Ling asked. Yes, master. Yang Er looked at Jiyu Ling. Take Yang Er with you. Jiyu Fei said to Jiyu Ling. This way, Yang Er's grandfather would be at ease and it would not affect Yang Er's cultivation. Therefore, they had to go. Zhao Hao's grandfather did not want to leave. He wanted to stay in Luoxia courtyard and take care of it. Jiyu Ling brought Yang Er to Luoxia City. Half an hour later, Jiyu Ling returned with Yang Er. Chapter 2799. The human world was in chaos, especially the eastern region. There were two forbidden areas in the eastern region. One was the eastern region Devil's Den and the other was the Sky Market. Legend had it that a corner of the primordial heavenly court fell from the 9 heavens. Of course, this was only a legend. No one knew the reason for the formation of the Sky Market. It was too long ago, so there was no way to investigate it. It might be a ruin from the mythological era. The human world had gone through at least 3 eras. The eras that could be investigated included the mythological era and the primordial era. After the primordial era was the present era. However, in some ancient legends, there was an era that was even older than the mythological era. As for the human realm, the Tinglong continent, and the eastern sky ruins, they had existed since the mythological era. They had existed for a very long time. Now, this mythological relic had become lively because the forbidden area of the heavenly realm, the western underworld sea, had been leveled. The news of the old turtle leveling the western dark ocean spread to the human world. All the cultivators in the human world were extremely excited. They could finally ascend to the sky and enter the heaven realm. The eastern region of Tunglong continent was the most chaotic region in the entire ancestral dragon star. This was because the ancient road to heaven and the Devil's Den were here. The eastern region was also the territory of the Dongfang clan and the primordial Zhao clan. Jiyu Fei still occupied a place in the eastern region. With so many forces in the eastern region, there was naturally no lack of friction. However, no one dared to touch the Wanxiang city. Although the Wanxiang city in the eastern region was not a big city, its status in the eastern region was very high. This was because the city lord of Wanxiang city was Jiyu Fei. After Jiyu Fei ascended to the sky, The person in charge of Wanxiang City was the Iron-Blood Daoist and the only survivor of the 13 Great Bandits, Zhuge Liang. Back when Hierarch Southern Heaven rebelled, the 13 Great Bandits were all killed by Hierarch Southern Heaven except for Zhuge Liang. With Wanxiang City as the center, the area with a radius of 30,000 li was Jiyu Fei's sphere of influence. With the Iron-Blood Daoist's cultivation and ability, it wasn't easy for him to protect such a territory. If it wasn't for Ghost Emperor Fengju's words, telling Jiyu Fei and the Eastern world to temporarily put aside their personal grievances and forbid the two forces from fighting, the Dongfang family would have already attacked the Iron-Blood Daoist. In fact, the major forces of the Eastern Domain weren't afraid of Ghost Emperor Fengju, but they were afraid of Jiang Renhuang. After knowing that Jiyu Fei and Jiang Renhuang were bosom buddies, all the people who were eyeing Wanxiang City covetously didn't dare to have any improper thoughts towards Wanxiang City. One had to know that the human sovereign was an invincible existence in the current era. Even the Eastern region Demon Lair was wary of Jiang Renhuang and didn't dare to make a move against Wanxiang City. That evening, the Iron-Blood Daoist stood on top of the city walls of Wanxiang City and looked into the distance. He saw demonic qi lingering in the mountain ridges. What the hell are these demon bastards doing? The Iron-Blood Daoist muttered to himself. Things like this kept happening recently, and he had a bad premonition. Could it be that those demon bastards were actually going to attack this place? If the Lord is here, let's see who would dare to have any ideas towards Wanxiang City. The Iron-Blood Daoist said. He thought of Jiyu Fei, but he still didn't have any news of Jiyu Fei. Ever since the news came from the Sky Market that the Heaven Realm's forbidden area, the Western Underworld Ocean, had been flattened, he had been waiting. He believed that the Lord would be back very soon. Boss, do you think the Lord will be back in the near future? At this moment, Zhuge Liang also climbed up the city walls and came to the Iron-Blood Daoist's side. I don't know either. Since the path to heaven is no longer dangerous, the Lord should be back. He can't possibly forget about us. The Iron-Blood Daoist said as he looked at the sunset. Just as the Iron-Blood Daoist and Zhuge Liang were talking on the city walls, an ancient formation platform behind the Wanxiang City Lord's mansion suddenly activated without any warning. A powerful energy fluctuation spread out from the City Lord's mansion. What? The Iron-Blood Daoist's expression suddenly changed. He immediately rushed down from the city walls and rushed towards the Lord's mansion. Very quickly, he returned to the Lord's mansion. What happened? Zhuge Liang was extremely shocked. He also rushed towards the Lord's mansion as if his butt was on fire. When the Iron-Blood Daoist arrived in front of the teleportation formation platform in the Lord's mansion, a figure walked out from a pitch-black whirlpool above the teleportation formation platform. When the Iron-Blood Daoist saw this person, he was extremely excited. When Zhuge Liang, who was a step behind the Iron-Blood Daoist, saw the figure walking out of the void, he staggered and almost fell to the ground. The person who walked out of the void was a handsome young man in black clothes. Lord, is it really you? At this moment, the Iron-Blood Daoist's voice was trembling. It's not who I am. The black-clothed young man said with a faint smile. He was finally back here. He was very curious as to how the Iron-Blood Daoist and Zhuge Liang managed to persevere. After all, after he went to the Heaven Realm, it would be a piece of cake for those big forces in the eastern region to seize the Wanxiang City. However, he immediately guessed the reason. Lord Zhuge Liang was so excited that he was about to cry. Jiyu Fei's return was too timely. Because the eastern region was very chaotic, if there was no powerful being guarding the Wanxiang City, the city would be seized by other forces sooner or later. All right, let's talk inside. Jiyu Fei said. Then, under the Iron-Blood Daoist's lead, he arrived at the main hall in front of the Lord's mansion. He did not stand on ceremony and directly sat on the throne in the middle of the main hall. Then, the Iron-Blood Daoist passed down an order to gather all the important figures in the Wanxiang City. Soon, the main hall of the Lord's mansion became lively. Ever since Jiyu Fei left, the Iron-Blood Daoist had been searching for his subordinates who had escaped the calamity. At the same time, he had also recruited some rogue cultivators to work for him. In this chaotic era, if the rogue cultivators wanted to survive, they had to rely on powerful forces. Many rogue cultivators relied on the iron blood daoist. Therefore, during the time when Jiyu Fei was not around, the iron blood daoist managed to build up a powerful force. Other than Zhuge Liang, the iron blood daoist also had 3 sage-level experts under him. At this moment, the 3 saints had also arrived at the main hall of the Lord's mansion. They were shocked to find that the iron blood daoist, who usually sat on the throne, was standing below the throne. On the throne sat a black-clothed young man. Seeing the iron blood daoist's respectful attitude towards the green-clothed young man, the 3 saints could not help but be shocked. They thought of a fierce person. Could it be that he has returned? The 3 saints were extremely shocked. If that person had returned, then they might be able to achieve great things by following this person. The 3 saints were very clear about the iron blood daoist's background. In fact, the reason why they relied on the iron blood daoist was mostly because of that person. The iron blood daoist was also very clear about the reason why the 3 saints relied on him. However, there were also some people who did not think highly of that person, so they continued to observe. However, as the situation worsened, even the saints had to work hard to survive. Those lone saints would either rely on those super factions or form an alliance. However, in the long run, the best choice was still to rely on those super factions. At this moment, in the main hall of the Wanxiang city's Lord's mansion, everyone was guessing the origins of the black-clothed young man sitting on the throne. Some people had already vaguely guessed who this black-clothed young man was. All of you have come to greet the master. He is your master. The iron blood daoist's gaze swept across everyone's faces and said this. Master. Hearing this, everyone in the main hall was both surprised and overjoyed. That person has finally returned. Doesn't that mean that he has successfully passed the tribulation? Greetings, Master. The 3 saints standing at the front of the crowd looked at each other before prostrating towards the black-clothed young man sitting on the throne. What? Seeing the 3 of them prostrating towards the black-clothed young man, everyone in the main hall was extremely shocked. This was because the 3 of them were powerful existences at the sage level. It was impossible for such existences to bow to someone weaker than them. There was only one possibility: that person's cultivation was much stronger than the 3 of them. Greetings, Master. Everyone else in the main hall hurriedly prostrated as well. Even the heaven, earth, and human saints prostrated before the throne. They were not saints, so there was no reason for them to not prostrate. Very good. Get up. Jiyu Fei sat on the throne and nodded. From the expressions of the people prostrating before him, he knew that some of them did not know who he was. This is a greeting gift. Take whatever you like. Jiyu Fei waved his hand and a pile of items fell from the void. The main hall was immediately filled with a divine radiance and the aura of treasures. Everything floated in the void and emitted an immortal radiance and divine radiance. There were divine swords that emanated a horrifying aura of slaughter, immortal blades that were branded with ancient talismans, and even over 10 divine herbs. Every single divine herb was like a sun that was enveloped in a ball of dazzling spiritual light. However, a few of the items that Jiyu Fei tossed out were very ordinary. They did not emanate any divine radiance, nor did they emanate powerful fluctuations of divine power or immortal force. Everyone was stunned by what they saw in front of them. This Lord was really generous. He actually gave away so many good things. Those divine weapons were definitely incomparably powerful immortal weapons or divine weapons. Especially those 10 divine herbs. Those were rare things in the world, and even a saint would not be able to produce so many divine herbs at once. Right when everyone was stunned, the 3 saints moved. They were the first to recover from their shock, and they immediately put away the 3 ordinary ancient treasures. The dozen or so stalks of divine medicine were also divided up by them. Chapter 2800. As soon as Jiyu Fei returned, he gifted so many godly weapons and spiritual herbs, causing everyone in the Wanxiang City Lord's mansion to be both surprised and overjoyed. However, he did not say who he was gifting these items to. Therefore, the hall immediately turned into a mess. Apart from the 3 saints who had already obtained the items they wanted, everyone else was making their moves. This is mine. Someone snatched the godly sword floating in the air. Mph, it's yours just because you said it's yours. Someone was unconvinced and made a move to snatch it away. The two of them immediately started fighting in the hall. Of course, they did not dare to risk their lives in front of Jiu Fei. They knew their limits very well. A fight like this was unavoidable. Jiu Fei simply turned a blind eye to it and ignored it. Soon, the items floating in the air were all taken away by the people in the hall. Some people obtained more than one item, while others obtained nothing at all. Those who did not obtain anything were naturally unhappy, while those who obtained something were overjoyed. Following that, Jiu Fei dismissed the crowd, leaving only the Iron Blood Daoist, Zhuge Liang, and the three saints. The three saints of heaven, earth, and man were actually fellow disciples. Logically speaking, the sect they belonged to shouldn't be a small sect. However, their sect was destroyed by someone. As a result, the three saints became rogue cultivators without a sect. The heaven saint Du Yu, the earth saint Li Hong, and the human saint Lu Tianxiong were known as the three saints. They were quite famous among the rogue cultivators. This time, they obtained 3 items and over 10 godly medicines. Even the saints were excited. The godly medicines were secondary, as the 3 items were the most important. The 3 items that Jiu Fei gifted seemed ordinary at first glance. They did not have any spiritual glow or immortal qi, nor did they emit any godly force. They did not look like artifacts at all. However, the 3 saints knew that these 3 items were the best out of all the items that Jiu Fei had given them, because they were all saint weapons. Heavenly Saint Du Yu had obtained a ruler that was more than a foot long. The material of this ruler seemed to be made of jade and stone, but it wasn't jade at all. It was very light, and he couldn't tell what it was for the time being. As for Earth Saint Li Hong, he obtained a copper bell. It was a copper bell the size of a fist, and one could vaguely see some runes on it. For a moment, Li Hong was unable to tell what was so special about this bronze bell. He would need to refine it in order to know what kind of power it possessed. Human sage Lu Tianxiong obtained a bronze dagger axe. Although the 3 saints did not know what kind of power these 3 items could unleash, they could all sense the aura of the divine path contained within them. Since they contained the aura of the divine path, they were naturally divine tools. However, the aura of the divine path was not obvious, and only saints could sense the existence of the divine path divine tools within them. These 3 divine tools were not simple. Their divine path auras were reserved, and they were not something that ordinary divine tools could compare to. Jiu Fei asked the 3 saints to stay behind and understood the current situation of the eastern region from them. Right now, there was only one word to describe the eastern region: chaos. Several major forces were entangled together and attacking each other. If it wasn't for the fact that those forces were wary of Jiang Renhuang, they would have already destroyed Wanxiang City, which was guarded by the Iron Blood Taoist. Even so, there were already people eyeing Wanxiang City. One must know that Wanxiang City might not have been a big city in the eastern region in the past, but after the Iron Blood Taoists' painstaking management, the atmosphere of Wanxiang City had changed. Especially the demons, they were already eyeing Wanxiang City covetously. The Dongfang clan and the Zhao clan were observing and did not interfere. This was because they wanted to use the demons to test the waters. If the demons attacked Wanxiang City, then it would be justifiable for them to take over Wanxiang City. Even if Jiu Fei returned from the heavenly tribulation, there was nothing they could say. However, although those people's wishful thinking was successful, they did not expect that Jiu Fei would return so soon. They also did not expect that someone could actually flatten the forbidden area of the heaven realm and open up the path of heavenly mortality. All these changes had already exceeded the expectations of the Dongfang clan and the Zhao clan of the desolate antiquity. The news of Jiu Fei's return spread quickly. The people of the Dongfang clan were naturally shocked and uneasy. One must know that they had a huge grudge against Jiu Fei. However, the Dongfang clan was now guarded by the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. Even if Jiu Fei returned, he would not dare to attack them. Of course, this was only the Dongfang clan's self-righteous thinking. One must know that Jiu Fei did not attack the Dongfang clan because he was giving face to Ghost Emperor Fengju. Ghost Emperor Fengju's face must be given. At this moment, only the Iron-Blood Taoist and Zhuge Liang were left in the main hall of the Wanxiang City's City Lord residence. The three saints had already left the main hall. Can these three fellows be trusted? Ji Fei asked the Iron-Blood Taoist. It was necessary to be vigilant against others, but under his eyes, he was not afraid of what these people could do. I haven't found anything suspicious about the three saints for the time being. The Iron-Blood Taoist thought for a while and said. The three saints had been relying on them for a period of time, but he did not find anything wrong. What do you think? Ji Fei glanced at Zhuge Liang and said. It's hard to say. Zhuge Liang said with some hesitation. The three saints hadn't been relying on them for a long time. Their loyalty was naturally questionable. He voiced out his concerns. Ian, what you said makes sense. There's nothing wrong with being more careful. Ji Fei nodded and said. Boom. At this moment, a loud sound suddenly came from the sky. The entire Wanxiang city shook violently. A powerful demonic aura spread out. Not good, the demons are attacking the city. The Iron-Blood Taoist was shocked and enraged. The demons had been spying on them for a period of time. Were they finally going to attack the city? Go, make sure those guys don't return. Ji Fei said with a wave of his hand. Yes, master. The Iron-Blood Taoist and Zhuge Liang immediately accepted the order and rushed out of the hall. At this moment, balls of demonic light soared into the sky from outside the Wanxiang city. Then, they descended towards the Wanxiang city. Every ball of demonic light was like a black sun descending from the sky and violently smashing onto the layer of light barrier formed by the power of the protective formation. Countless people in the Wanxiang city looked at the balls of demonic light exploding in the sky in fear. The soldiers of the Wanxiang city had already started moving. Groups of soldiers rushed up the city walls. The light barrier formed by the city defense formation blocked the demonic light that fell from the sky. However, the attack of the demons did not stop there. At this moment, countless demonic figures rushed out from the mountains outside the city. The soldiers on the city walls could not help but change their expressions when they saw this. Demonic attack. This is a demonic attack. Chapter 2801. Outside Wanxiang City, countless demonic creatures were gathered. From afar, it was a black mass that stretched as far as the eye could see. At this moment, the outpost outside Wanxiang City had already been occupied by those demonic creatures. All the cultivators outside the city had already retreated back into Wanxiang City. When the Iron-Blood Taoist and Zhuge Liang arrived at the top of the city wall and saw this scene, they could not help but feel their scalps go numb. There were simply too many demonic creatures outside the city. As the saying went, even ants could kill an elephant if there were enough of them. They realized that not only were there countless demonic creatures gathered on the ground, but there were also some in the sky. Demonic ants with wings on their backs flew over from afar and stopped in the air, covering half the sky. Among the demonic ants, there were also some huge figures. They were ferocious demonic creatures that could fly. Soon, countless demonic butterflies the size of tabletops flew over from afar. In an instant, the sky and ground were filled with demonic creatures. What's going on? Why are there demonic creatures surrounding the city? At this moment, the heaven, earth, and human saints had also arrived at the top of the city wall. Facing countless demonic creatures, even saints like them would be fearful because there were simply too many of them. No matter how many of them there are, they are just ants. There's no need to be nervous. The Iron-Blood Taoist said. But brother, it's obvious that there are extremely powerful demons driving these demonic creatures. Human Saint Lu Tianxiong said with a frown. I wonder if it's a great demon saint or an even more powerful demon. Heaven Saint Du Yu said. He was very calm and did not reveal any expression on his face. Who cares who it is? They are destined to be unlucky today. Zhuge Liang said with a cold smile. To think that these guys would attack the city when the Lord was back. They were simply courting death. Roar. Just as everyone was conversing, a terrifying demonic roar was heard from afar. Then, the countless demonic creatures surrounding Wanxiang City quietened down. In the next moment, Countless demonic creatures charged towards Wanxiang City like a tidal wave. Rumble. Countless demonic creatures ran on the ground, letting out thunderous sounds. Dust billowed, and it was an extremely shocking scene. At the same time, the demonic creatures in the sky began their attack. Countless demonic butterflies, soaring demonic ants, and other flying demonic creatures pounced towards Wanxiang City. Bang! A soaring demonic ant the size of a wild wolf crashed into the Wanxiang City's light barrier and exploded, turning into a mist of blood. Then there was a second one, a third one. The densely packed soaring demonic ants crashed into the light barrier, but they couldn't break it at all. However, the countless soaring demonic ants continued to fly towards Myriad Phenomenon City like moths to a flame, unafraid of death. It was the same for the countless demon butterflies. As if they were possessed, they madly pounced towards Wanxiang City and crashed into the light barrier. Boom! Suddenly, a loud sound came from the direction of Wanxiang City's city gate. Hearing this loud noise, the Iron-Blood Daoist could no longer remain calm. If the countless demonic creatures outside the city were to attack the city, then the humans inside the city would become food for these demonic creatures. The Iron-Blood Daoist was unwilling to see such a scene. He charged towards the direction of the city gate. When he arrived, he saw an incomparably huge demonic creature crashing into the city barrier formation. It was a demonic bull with 2 sharp horns on its head. Every time the bull crashed into the formation, the entire void would tremble. The other demonic creatures were unwilling to get close to the bull and retreated far away. "You're courting death." The Iron-Blood Daoist waved his hand and a ray of fire rushed out from his hand, turning into a fire blade that slashed towards the demonic bull. Swoosh! The fire blade pierced through the demonic bull's body. In the next moment, the ferocious demonic bull stopped. Then, under everyone's gaze, its head fell off. Seeing this, the soldiers on top of the city wall immediately cheered. However, after the Iron-Blood Daoist killed the demonic bull, another incomparably powerful demonic creature charged over and attacked the city gate in a frenzy, trying to break into the city. The Iron-Blood Daoist attacked angrily. A ball of fire rushed out from his hand and smashed towards the incoming demons. Boom! With a loud bang, the ball of fire that the Iron-Blood Daoist shot out exploded among the countless demonic creatures. The true fire of the divine phoenix of extreme yang instantly swept across the area. All the demonic creatures within a radius of a few hundred feet were burned into ashes by the divine fire. There were countless casualties. Iron-Blood Daoist, as long as you surrender obediently, I promise to spare your life. A voice came from afar. The voice was erratic and it was difficult to determine its exact location. "Surrender my ass. Come and fight me if you have the guts," the Iron-Blood Daoist said in disdain. He hated these people who hid their heads and showed their tails the most. "Since you want to die, there's no other way." The voice from afar continued to ring in the Iron-Blood Daoist's mind. Rumble. At this moment, all the demonic creatures were still charging towards the Wanxiang City. However, it was all in vain. The city barrier formation of the Wanxiang City was really strong. No matter how many demonic creatures came, they would not be able to break through this place. Interesting. At this moment, Jiyu Fei, who was sitting on the throne in the main hall of the city lord residence, muttered to himself. His expression was incomparably cold. "These demonic bastards must be tired of living. How dare they attack my city?" The winds and clouds above Wanxiang City changed. Rays of demonic light descended from the sky and landed on the Great Protective Formation. When the demonic light landed on the light barrier, it actually caused the light barrier to become slightly unstable. Seeing this, the Iron-Blood Daoist hurriedly took out the Phoenix Tribulation. A divine phoenix soared into the sky with a mighty aura fluctuation. Boundless fire elemental energy was recovering. Go! Under the Iron-Blood Daoist's control, the Phoenix Tribulation smashed towards the countless demonic creatures outside the city. Boom! Amidst the earth-shattering explosion, a large number of demonic creatures outside the Wanxiang City were burned into ashes by the true fire of the divine phoenix that swept out from the Phoenix Tribulation. The 3 saints of heaven, earth, and man were also taking action. Although there were many demonic creatures, they were not very powerful. A sage-level expert could kill a large number of such demonic creatures with a single attack. However, these demonic creatures had the advantage in terms of their numbers. It was as if there was no end to them. After killing a group, another group would appear. There was no end to it. At this moment, powerful figures of demons appeared on the mountain ridge in the distance. Roar! Amidst an earth-shattering roar, a gigantic demonic dragon the size of a mountain charged out of the mountain towards the Wanxiang city with a monstrous demonic aura. Chapter 2802. Countless demonic creatures surrounded the entire Wanxiang city. From the ground to the sky, one could only see a black mass of ferocious and terrifying demonic creatures at a glance. It was noon, and the weather should have been bright and sunny. However, it was dark and gloomy in Wanxiang city, and a chilly wind was blowing. Demonic creatures filled the sky and the ground. Demonic chi lingered in the air, and demonic howls could be heard from time to time, causing one's heart to palpitate. It was a scene of doomsday. The mortals in Wanxiang city were scared out of their wits. They hid in their houses and did not dare to come out. On the streets of Wanxiang city, one could only see the silhouettes of cultivators and soldiers rushing through the city. The streets were cold and desolate. The Iron-Blood Daoist had formed a troop of soldiers in Wanxiang city. It was made up of cultivators. There were not many of them, but there were still 1,000 of them. During normal times, these 1,000 soldiers were mainly responsible for maintaining order in Wanxiang city. However, they were now facing countless demonic creatures. These soldiers had never seen such a scene before. Almost all the soldiers standing on the city walls were terrified. Their legs turned to jelly as they looked at the countless demonic creatures outside the city. How could 1,000 soldiers fight against countless demonic creatures? Only the sage-level existences could remain calm in the face of the endless demonic creatures. To the sage-level existences, there was nothing to be afraid of no matter how many demonic creatures there were. Rumble, just as everyone in Wanxiang city was in a state of panic, a thunderous sound came from the depths of the mountains outside the city. Then, under the terrified gazes of the soldiers on the city walls, a gigantic demonic figure rushed out from the depths of the mountains. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. Under the endless demonic aura, a demonic dragon appeared between the heavens and the earth, and a terrifying demonic aura filled every inch of the void. This is, seeing the demonic dragon, the Iron-Blood Daoist's pupils constricted. This was a sage-level demonic dragon, and it was extremely powerful. Wherever the demonic dragon went, countless demonic creatures would retreat in fear, making a path for it. The devil dragon's roar shook the heavens and the earth. On top of the city wall, some of the weaker combat soldiers were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground. Their bodies were trembling in fear. The demon dragon's aura was simply too powerful. Even a sage would be moved by it, let alone those cultivators with average cultivation bases. Who is willing to go out and slay this demon dragon? The Iron-Blood Daoist's voice reverberated throughout Wanxiang city, but no one responded. Everyone could tell that the demonic dragon outside the city was not to be trifled with. Even the 3 saints of heaven, earth, and man were a little hesitant. Shua! At that moment, a copper spear suddenly flew out from the Wanxiang city lord's residence. It directly broke through the layer of light formed by the power of the protective formation and nailed the demonic dragon flying towards Wanxiang city in the void. When the copper spear nailed the demonic dragon, its divine soul was shattered by the destructive power attached to the copper spear. It didn't even have the chance to let out a scream before it died. The next moment. Bam! With a loud bang, the demonic dragon's huge body exploded and turned into a bloody mist, dissipating into the air as if it had never been there. A copper spear fell from the sky and stabbed into the ground. It was a very ordinary copper spear that couldn't even be considered a divine weapon. However, it was this ordinary copper spear that had nailed an extremely powerful demonic dragon to death. That was a powerful demonic dragon of the sage level. The eyes of the 3 sages of heaven, earth and human nearly popped out of their sockets when they saw this. This, heaven sage Du Yu's voice was trembling. How is this possible? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Earth sage Li Hong said in disbelief. Master's cultivation base is so powerful that he can kill a sage with a wave of his hand. Human sage Lu Tianxiong said. That was because the scene just now was too shocking. A sage-level living being was nailed to death by an ordinary copper spear. They all knew who the culprit was. Ji Yufei's attack had not only shocked the three sages of heaven, earth, and human to the extreme, it had also intimidated the demons hiding in the dark outside the city. The demons stopped attacking and countless demonic creatures retreated. However, these demonic creatures did not leave. They only retreated 100 li away from Wanxiang City before stopping and continuing to surround the city. Temph, they really don't know what's good for them. They still refuse to retreat. The Iron-Blood Daoist sneered and muttered to himself. With his master around, no amount of demonic creatures would be enough to kill them. After all, his master could kill a sage with a wave of his hand. What's going on? All the cultivators in Wanxiang City were astonished. They did not see the scene where the copper spear nailed the demonic dragon to death. They did not know why the terrifying demonic aura had suddenly disappeared. At the top of the city wall, the soldiers recovered from their shock. The demonic dragon had died just like that. To them, it was extremely unreal. Although the war had stopped temporarily, the demons did not retreat. This caused everyone to feel immense pressure. No one knew what other tricks the demons had up their sleeves. What should we do? Zhu Galiang, who was standing beside the Iron-Blood Daoist, asked him. Let's wait and see. The Iron-Blood Daoist glanced at the countless demonic creatures 100 li away and said. At this moment, the news of the demons attacking Wanxiang City had already spread. It was impossible for the demons to not alarm people with such a huge commotion. The Iron-Blood Daoist of Wanxiang City is in trouble. Someone said something like that. That's hard to say. You should know that the Iron-Blood Daoist is not a pushover. He has the Phoenix Tribulation with him. That thing is very powerful. Someone disagreed. One must know that the Phoenix Tribulation was most likely an Emperor Divine weapon. With the Phoenix Tribulation in hand, it would not be easy for the demons to destroy Wanxiang City. However, since the demons dared to launch such a powerful attack and did not hesitate to order countless demonic creatures to surround Wanxiang City, it was enough to prove that the demons had a meticulous plan. At this moment, the news of Ji Yufei's return had not spread. People outside of Wanxiang City did not know about it. Even the demons did not know that Ji Yufei was in Wanxiang City. Otherwise, the demons outside the city would have retreated a long time ago. Why would they dare to surround Wanxiang City? An hour later, a demonic howl broke the silence. Following this howl, the demonic creatures that had retreated 100 li away became restless. Then, countless demonic creatures began to attack Wanxiang City. The soaring demonic ants and demonic butterflies were like demonic clouds that covered the sky and earth as they flew towards Wanxiang City. At this moment, a figure flashed on the top of Wanxiang City's city wall. A masked woman appeared on the city wall. Why is she here? The Iron-Blood Daoist was stunned when he saw that person. He hurriedly walked over. Zhu Galiang also hurriedly chased after the Iron-Blood Daoist. Little mistress, why are you here? The Iron-Blood Daoist asked. He recognized Ji Yuling. The heaven, earth, and human saints were shocked when they heard the Iron-Blood Daoist address the woman as Little Mistress. Could this woman be Ji Yufei's daughter, Ji Yuling? Many people knew that Ji Yufei had a daughter, but not many had actually seen Ji Yuling. Ji Yuling was not a stranger to the cultivators in the ocean. However, not many of them survived the rebellion of Hierarch Southern Heaven. The cultivators from the ocean were very unlucky. Those loyal to Ji Yufei were almost wiped out by Hierarch Southern Heaven. When Ji Yufei returned, he defeated Hierarch Southern Heaven and killed all the cultivators from the ocean who were loyal to Hierarch Southern Heaven. It was easy to imagine how many cultivators from the ocean managed to survive the calamity. What? Can't I come here? Ji Yuling glanced at the Iron-Blood Daoist and said unhappily. No, that's not what I meant. But, we are in a critical situation now. The Iron-Blood Daoist quickly explained. He did not dare to offend this little mistress. One should know that this little mistress was not someone to be trifled with. Sometimes, Even the great lord could not do anything to her. Haha, I came because I know this place is fun. Jiu Ling smiled. Meanwhile, the demonic ants and demonic butterflies were approaching them. They were about to collide with the barrier formed by the power of the defensive formation. Good timing. Jiu Ling smiled and took out a gourd. She pulled out the stopper and pointed the mouth of the gourd at the demonic ants and demonic butterflies in the sky. Boom. Jiu Ling slapped the bottom of the gourd, causing a flame to burst out from the gourd. It instantly turned into a huge flame that burned at the demonic ants and demonic butterflies in the sky. As the flame spread, countless demonic ants and demonic butterflies were turned into balls of fire and fell from the sky. Seeing this, the Iron-Blood Daoist was dumbfounded. This little mistress was too ruthless. The barrier formed by the defensive formation was very magical. Divine power and immortal power could penetrate the barrier and kill the demonic creatures if they attacked from outside the city. However, it was difficult for the demonic creatures to attack from the outside. Therefore, the demonic creatures outside could only be beaten up. Haha, this is fun. Jiu Ling kept activating the gourd in her hand. Beams of fire shot out from the gourd and burned half the sky red. Countless demonic ants and demonic butterflies were in trouble. At this moment, the Iron-Blood Daoist and Zhu Galiang attacked as well. The demonic ants and demonic butterflies fell from the sky like raindrops. Soon, the city walls were covered with a thick layer of ant and butterfly carcasses. Rumble, the ground shook. At this moment, the countless demonic creatures on the ground finally reached the city walls of Wanxiang. Boom! A monster the size of a small mountain leapt high into the air and slammed its head into the light barrier. The light barrier trembled, but the monster's tendons and bones were broken by the recoil force, and it fell to the bottom of the city wall like a pile of mud. At the same time, powerful demonic auras appeared around Wanxiang City. The real demons were about to attack. Are they finally here? Chapter 2803. The real demons were about to make their move. These demonic creatures were just some low-level creatures and couldn't be considered as demons. They were just cannon fodder. Roar. A demonic roar came from the front of Wanxiang City. An extremely powerful demonic aura erupted. Looking from afar, the demonic aura was monstrous and a demonic shadow loomed between heaven and earth. Haha, is the main character coming out? Gulling put away the firestorm gourd and said while looking at the demonic shadow in the distance. Her eyes were filled with excitement. The real demons are coming. At this moment, another demonic roar was heard. This time, it came from the back of Wanxiang City. A huge demonic shadow also appeared between heaven and earth. Rumble, two powerful true demonic auras spread between heaven and earth. The demonic aura shrouded the surroundings, causing the entire world to turn even darker. Countless creatures were terrified to the extreme. This kind of demonic aura caused fear to arise from the depths of one's soul. Creatures with weak cultivation couldn't even think of resisting under the demonic aura and were completely suppressed. Two true demons, huh? Gulling smiled. If she relied on her own strength, she naturally wouldn't be able to contend against a demon of this level. However, she had many treasures on her. However, when the third true demon aura appeared, Gulling's expression turned solemn. However, this wasn't the end. The fourth true demon aura appeared. 4 gigantic demonic figures appeared at the 4 corners of Wanxiang City, surrounding it. The demons really think highly of us, Tai Shui. They actually sent out 4 true demons. The Iron-Blood Daoist couldn't help but sigh when he saw this scene. The 4 true demons were all powerful existences above the saint level. These true demons even had the cultivation and combat power of the great saint level. I hope it's not the great demon saint. Zhu Galiang, who was next to the Iron-Blood Daoist, said. At this moment, he also stopped. The demonic creatures outside the city were just some small fries. It didn't matter whether they killed them or not. The true demons were existences that needed to be dealt with seriously. The 4 true demons are here. At this time, the 3 saints couldn't help but be moved. The 4 true devils were no joke. It was just a myriad phenomenon city, yet the Eastern Devil Lair actually sent out 4 true devils. The true devil was a pure-blooded devil clan. Even in the entire eastern region devil lair of the human world, there weren't many of them. Pure-blooded demons were too rare. The densely packed collisions were like raindrops. The overwhelming number of demonic creatures continued to attack Wanxiang City's defensive formation. However, all of this was not in vain. The demonic blood that splashed out from the demonic creatures could corrode the light shield formed by the power of the Great City Barrier Array, but the speed of corrosion was very slow. The devil blood corroded the light barrier, causing it to weaken. This was exactly what the 4 true devils wanted. In the eyes of the true devils, these devils were disdainful existences. Roar! The demonic dragons roared and 9 mountain-sized demonic dragons charged over from the distance. One of the demonic dragons opened its mouth and spat out a demonic fireball condensed from demonic fire towards Wanxiang City. Boom! With a loud bang, the demonic fireball drew an arc in the sky and smashed onto the light shield of Wanxiang City. It exploded and a mass of demonic fire swept out, causing the entire light shield to tremble. Mysterious runes appeared on the light shield and interweaved into Dao diagrams. The power of the Great Dao surged out from the Dao diagrams and counteracted the power of the demonic fireball. Rumble! The 9 demonic dragons were like 9 demonic mountains. They crushed through the void, causing the entire world to tremble. The demonic might was shocking and terrifying to the extreme. Boom! Another demonic fireball smashed onto the light shield of Wanxiang City. The demonic fire swept out and burned the void into nothingness. The light shield dimmed for a moment, but it immediately brightened up again. At this time, the cultivators in the city were indescribably shocked. As the demonic fireballs exploded in the sky above Wanxiang City, all the cultivators in the city were horrified. It's over, it's over. Once those devils attack the city, we will all die without a burial ground. Some cultivators cried out in despair. The demonic might was so strong that some of the cultivators almost broke down mentally, let alone those ordinary mortals who were hiding in their houses. I want to slay a dragon. At this moment, Jiyu Ling screamed and leaped into the sky, rushing out of the light shield. What? The Iron Blood Daoist could not catch hold of Jiyu Ling. This was a huge shock. If anything were to happen to his little master, he would be in for it as well. Little master, Zhu Guliang was stunned as well. What should we do? Zhu Guliang was flustered. Jiyu Ling was no saint. She had yet to take that step. If those true demons outside the city were to strike at her, the consequences would be unimaginable. Naughty again. Within the Wanxiang City Lord's residence, Jiyu Fei could not help but shake his head helplessly. This daughter of his was way too wild. She was especially good at causing trouble. Jiyu Fei did not make a move. He knew that Jiyu Ling's cultivation state was at a critical juncture. She could take that step at any moment. She still needed more training. As the saying went, an uncut jade is worthless. It was not a bad idea to let her suffer a little. However, Jiyu Fei knew that this daughter of his was a weird one. It would be hard to get her to suffer. At this moment, a powerful aura of a saint burst forth from Jiyu Ling's body. She channeled the wind-fire gourd in her hands, and a ball of flame burst forth from the gourd, colliding with the demon fireball that was spat out by the demon dragon. Boom! With a deafening explosion, the demon fireball that was spat out by the demon dragon exploded. Instantly, the demon fireball engulfed the void in a radius of tens of miles. Holy T! My little ancestor! At the sight of this, Zhu Guliang could not help but stomp his feet. Phew! All he saw was a flash of a figure before him. A figure had leaped into the sky, rushing out of the light shield as well. Taking a closer look, he realized that it was his boss, the Iron Blood Daoist. The Iron Blood Daoist was even more afraid of something happening to Jiyu Ling than Zhu Guliang. However, just as the Iron Blood Daoist was about to slay the dragon, he suddenly stopped, flew back, and landed on the top of the city wall. Boss, why did you come back? Why didn't you bring the little master back? Zhu Guliang hurriedly asked. Don't ask so many questions. The Iron Blood Daoist glanced at Zhu Guliang and said. Zhu Guliang immediately came to a realization and nodded. It seemed that the Lord wanted the Iron Blood Daoist back. Otherwise, why would the Iron-Blood Daoist ignore the Little Master's safety and leave the Little Master outside alone? Chapter 2804. Roar. The demonic dragon roared, and the terrifying demonic sound shook the world. Ripples visible to the naked eye appeared in the void, and the sky seemed to be shattered by this roar. The dragon's roar caused Jiyu Ling's ears to buzz. At this moment, she had already rushed in front of the demonic dragon. Swoosh! The demonic dragon directly clawed at Jiyu Ling. The huge demonic dragon's claw was the size of a small mountain, covering the sky and the earth. Boom! At this moment, Jiyu Ling suddenly spewed out a pillar of fire from her hand, accompanied by a strong gust of wind, towards the dragon's claw. Jiyu Ling used the Firewind Gourd. The Firewind Gourd contained the wind and fire chi. It was a sacred weapon of the sacred level and was very powerful. This sacred weapon was originally a gift from Jiyu Ling to Old Tortoise. However, when Old Tortoise left Luoxia City's courtyard, he gave this sacred weapon to Jiyu Ling. The wind and fire chi that rushed out of the Firewind Gourd turned into a fire dragon and a wind dragon. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they pounced forward. Bang! With a muffled sound, the wind and fire dragons collided with the demonic dragon's sharp claws. The demonic dragon let out a long roar and was actually sent flying by the wind and fire dragons. Ding! At this moment, a bell suddenly rang out from Jiyu Ling's right wrist. A terrifying sound wave spread out from the bell on her wrist. The demonic dragon immediately became sluggish. Kill! Jiyu Ling leaped high and arrived above the demonic dragon's head. She then took out a bronze mace and smashed it down on the demonic dragon's head. Bang! Crack! Jiyu Ling's bronze mace directly smashed the demonic dragon's head into pieces. A pitiful and powerful demonic dragon died just like that. These demonic dragons were the mounts of the true demons. The huge dragon corpse fell from the sky and smashed into the ground, causing dust to fly up. Ha ha! Jiyu Ling laughed heartily as he charged towards another demonic dragon. Roar! Just as Jiyu Ling had smashed the demonic dragon to death, an enraged roar rang out from a distance. An extremely powerful wave of spiritual will swept out unscrupulously. Little fellow, die! A cold voice suddenly rang out in Jiyu Ling's heart. Then, a demonic hand silently appeared above Jiyu Ling's head and grabbed towards her. Shua! Jiyu Ling's figure instantly disappeared into the void. The demon's hand grabbed thin air. In the next moment, Jiyu Ling's figure appeared hundreds of feet away. She had cultivated Jiyu Fei's 8 steps extreme speed, so when she walked in the void, her speed was extremely fast. A true demon was actually attacking her. This caused her to be both shocked and furious. A true demon wasn't something she could contend against. She could only retreat. No one can save you. The voice of a true demon came from afar. Rumble. The air trembled as a demonic shadow rushed towards Jiyu Ling. An extremely powerful demonic aura filled the air, causing Jiyu Ling's heart to palpitate. Shua. At this moment, a ball of divine light suddenly bloomed from Jiyu Ling's hand. It instantly enveloped her and she disappeared into the void. Everyone was shocked by this scene. Just as they were guessing what had happened, Jiyu Ling appeared in the Wanxiang City's City Lord's mansion. Jiyu Ling crushed a jade talisman and returned to the City Lord residence. At this moment, the Iron-Blood Daoist, Zhuge Liang, and the rest heaved a sigh of relief. This little brat had finally left. They no longer had to worry about her safety. Boom! The demonic shadow rushed to the outskirts of the Wanxiang City in an instant. The person raised his fist and punched the light barrier of the Wanxiang City. The light barrier trembled violently, and cracks began to appear on it like a spiderweb. Seeing this, the Iron-Blood Daoist couldn't help but be shocked. This person was definitely a true demon. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to have such powerful combat strength. A single punch almost broke the light barrier. Boom! The person punched again. This time, accompanied by a loud bang, more cracks appeared on the light barrier as though it could collapse at any time. At this time, the countless demonic creatures had already retreated like a receding tide, leaving behind only the experts of the demon race. The 8-headed demonic dragon was still charging forward, spitting out demonic flames from its mouth, wanting to burn a big hole in the light barrier. Kill. The Iron-Blood Daoist couldn't maintain his calm anymore. He rushed down from the city wall and waved his hand. A dazzling flame immediately turned into a fire blade and slashed at the true demon. Clang. The true demon raised his hand to block the attack. When the fire blade slashed his arm, a metallic clang was heard. The true demon's arm was completely unharmed. This shocked the Iron-Blood Daoist. This demon's demonic body was definitely unbelievably powerful. The true demon was surrounded by demonic chi. Every move he made was powerful. Rumble. The true demon stretched out his hand. A demonic hand emitting monstrous demonic chi immediately appeared and grabbed at the Iron-Blood Daoist. Buzz. The Iron-Blood Daoist shook the Phoenix Tribulation in his hand. A godly phoenix immediately rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation and faced the true demon's hand. Boom. With a loud bang, the two extremely powerful forces collided. The godly phoenix that rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation collapsed and dissipated in the void. The demonic hand that grabbed at the Iron-Blood Daoist also dispersed and turned back into demonic chi. Iron-Blood Brat, you're no match for me. The true devil said these words. TCH, the Iron-Blood Daoist ignored the true demon and attacked with all his strength. 9 godly phoenixes rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation and charged at the true demon. Rumble. The true demon stretched out his hand. A demonic hand emitting monstrous demonic chi immediately appeared and grabbed at the Iron-Blood Daoist. Buzz. The Iron-Blood Daoist shook the Phoenix Tribulation in his hand. A godly phoenix immediately rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation and faced the true demon's hand. Boom. With a loud bang, the two extremely powerful forces collided. The godly phoenix that rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation collapsed and dissipated in the void. The demonic hand that grabbed at the Iron-Blood Daoist also dispersed and turned back into demonic chi. Iron-Blood Brat, you're no match for me. The true devil said these words. TCH. Chapter 2805. Boom. The 9 divine phoenix phantoms collided with the true demon's body. The 9 divine phoenix phantoms exploded in an instant and the ferocious force sent the true demon flying. Roar. The true demon roared angrily. The true phoenix divine fire that swept out dispersed the demonic aura that enveloped its body. It was a demonic ape covered in black fur. The demonic ape was not tall, but its arms were very long. The muscles on its arms bulged like a horned dragon, giving off a strong and powerful feeling. The Herculean demonic ape clan. The Iron-Blood Daoist could not help but be shocked when he saw the demonic ape. This was one of the pure-blooded demons. The Herculean demonic ape clan was a demons that could fight against the golden spirit ape clan. The demonic ape roared angrily and swung its right arm at the Iron-Blood Daoist. The demonic ape's arm instantly became as huge as a mountain, crushing the void. How dare you! The Iron-Blood Daoist hurriedly activated the Phoenix Calamity in his hand to block it. The 9 divine phoenixes emerged from the Phoenix Calamity once again. The divine phoenixes flapped their wings, and an extremely powerful force of the divine phoenix spread out from the Phoenix Calamity. Boom! The demonic arm that was as huge as a mountain smashed onto the Phoenix Calamity, causing a loud explosion. The entire void was directly torn apart by the mighty destructive force. The Iron-Blood Daoist felt the hand that was holding the Phoenix Calamity tremble. A huge force came from the Phoenix Calamity and knocked him away. The Phoenix Calamity in his hand almost flew out of his hand, and his arm felt numb. Such great strength. It seems like the legends are not necessarily false. The Iron-Blood Daoist frowned. The Herculean demonic ape clan was famous for their strength. The strength of their arms could split the sky and earth, and they could easily pluck the stars and the moon. Not bad, little guy. Again. The Herculean demonic ape grinned. The huge demonic arm had already returned to its original state. However, the demonic ape stretched out its hand, and a demonic hand instantly enveloped the entire world. Naturally, the Iron-Blood Daoist was also enveloped within it. The entire world suddenly darkened, as if the demonic ape had grabbed the entire world in its hand. Rumble, A terrifying power of destruction swept towards the Ironblood Daoist from all directions. Demonic patterns appeared in the air as the power of destruction rapidly condensed and increased. You want to kill me with this kind of method? It's not enough. The Ironblood Daoist said coldly. He had not lived all these years in vain. Moreover, he had the Phoenix Calamity, an Emperor-level divine weapon. Boom! The aura of a true Phoenix burst forth, and the true Phoenix Tao patterns on the Phoenix Tribulation radiated with immortal divine light. 9 divine phoenixes rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation and danced around Ironblood Daoist. The destructive power coming from all directions was immediately blocked by the power of the true Phoenix that was spread out by the 9 divine Phoenix phantoms. The true Phoenix was one of the strongest living beings in the world. It was strong enough to fight against the true demons. The power of the true Phoenix exploded, shaking the entire dark void. Spatial cracks appeared in the pitch-black void, and light from the outside world shone through the spatial cracks. Break! The Ironblood Daoist roared angrily. He activated the Phoenix Tribulation with all his might, and the 9 divine phoenixes circling around him instantly rushed together. Boom! With a muffled sound, the 9 true Phoenix Tao patterns that had transformed into divine phoenixes fused together. An extremely powerful force exploded, and endless divine fire swept through the pitch-black space. A divine phoenix appeared in the towering divine fire, as if a real divine phoenix was being reborn in the divine fire. This was the power of a phoenix's nirvana. The divine phoenix that had appeared from the true phoenix fire flapped its wings and soared into the sky. It broke through the pitch-black void and roared at the sky. In the next moment, the divine phoenix dissipated, and a figure appeared in the sky. It was the Ironblood Daoist. The Ironblood Daoist used the power of the true phoenix on his body and transformed into a divine phoenix, displaying his powerful battle prowess. This kind of power caused the demon ape to be moved. The heir of the divine phoenix. Interesting. The demon ape grinned, and its eyes flickered with ferocity. Demonic light circulated all over its body, and an extremely powerful demonic aura surged from its body. At this moment, there were other true demons appearing in other directions of Wanxiang City. The other 3 true demons were also attacking Wanxiang City. Roar! The demon dragon roared, and the 8 demon dragons were desperately attacking the light barrier of Wanxiang City. The light barrier that enveloped the entire Wanxiang City was shaking violently, and countless runes were flashing, as if it could be broken at any time. What should we do? That's a true demon. On top of the city wall, Zhu Galiang was at his wits' end. He did not think that he was a match for a true demon, and if he were to face a true demon, he would definitely die. The heaven, earth, and human saints were also very uneasy. If the great city barrier formation was broken, they would definitely die a horrible death. It should be known that wherever the demons went, there would be no survivors. The more powerful one was, the more miserable their death would be. Let's fight. We might have a chance of survival. Heaven Saint Du Yu said in a deep voice. There was still a ferocious person overseeing Wanxiang City, and he would not watch them die in the hands of the true demons. All right. Earth Saint Li Hong nodded. Then let's fight. Human Saint Lu Tianxiong raised his arm. Kill. Heavenly Saint Du Yu soared into the sky and pounced at one of the demonic dragons. With a wave of his hand, streaks of divine light pierced through the demonic dragon like rainbows. Feeling threatened, the demon dragon opened its mouth and spat out a ball of pitch-black demon fire at Heaven Saint Du Yu. Du Yu directly broke through the demonic flames. Rays of divine light directly struck the demonic dragon's body, piercing through its huge body. However, he was dumbfounded in the next moment. There was no demonic blood splattering out from the demonic dragon's wound. Instead, the huge wound was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. What? Du Yu was extremely shocked. This demon dragon was much harder to deal with than he had imagined. However, he clearly saw Jiyu Ling smash a demon dragon to death with a bronze mace. Boss, we're here. At this moment, Li Hong and Lu Tianxiong rushed over. The 3 saints started fighting against the demon dragon. The extremely powerful aura of the Sage Dao filled the air, causing all the living beings in Wanxiang City to be extremely terrified. Just a bunch of ants. Is the one in the city not planning to come out yet? An old voice sounded from afar. A white-haired old man stood there, filled with demon chi. This was an old true demon. Although this true demon looked extremely old, the demon might exuding from his body was much stronger than any other true demon. CHMPH. Chapter 2806. The demonic beasts had surrounded the city and the true demons had arrived. All the living beings in Wanxiang City were panicking as if doomsday had arrived. The sky was dark. Outside Wanxiang City, the heaven, earth, and human saints were fighting a demonic dragon. It was a saint-level demonic dragon that was extremely powerful. However, this was not the scariest part of the demonic dragon. It seemed to have an immortal body. Even if the heaven, earth, and human saints attacked its body with great techniques, it could still recover quickly and completely. Looks like it's hard to kill this demonic dragon with normal methods. Earth Saint Li Hong said as he instantly dodged the demonic dragon's claws. Then we'll destroy its soul. Heaven Saint Du Yu said. Since the demonic dragon's body was indestructible, they would start with its soul. As long as they could destroy the beast's soul, they would naturally be able to kill it. Not bad. Human Saint Lu Tianxiong said as he fought. The fact that the three saints couldn't even take down a single demon dragon made the three saints lose all face. It had to be known that there were 7 other demon dragons besides this one. If those demon dragons attacked at the same time, the 3 of them would have no choice but to sacrifice themselves. Fortunately, those demonic dragons did not attack the heaven, earth, and human saints. They were only attacking the defensive formation of Wanxiang City with all their might. The protective barrier formed by the power of the formation was constantly dimming. Rumble, the protective barrier shook violently and cracks began to appear on it. The 7-headed demonic dragon was extremely powerful. It was equivalent to 7 saint-level existences. What should we do? Zhuge Liang, who was on top of the city wall, did not know what to do. The other soldiers were already paralyzed on the ground, trembling in extreme fear. At this moment, the Iron Blood Daoist and the Herculean demonic ape started fighting. Buzz. The Phoenix Tribulation in the Iron Blood Daoist's hand was vibrating. Shadows of divine phoenixes appeared on the Phoenix Tribulation. Towering flames burned half of the sky red, forcing the Herculean demonic ape to retreat. Why isn't the Lord doing anything? The Iron Blood Daoist thought to himself, is the Lord really going to let those demons break into Wanxiang City? More and more cracks appeared on the light barrier, as if it could shatter at any time. It was a moment of life and death for Wanxiang City. If Jiu Fei did not make a move, then Wanxiang City would definitely not be able to hold on. It would be massacred by the demons that had breached Wanxiang City. Haha, iron-blooded brat, your end has arrived. The Herculean demonic ape rushed back from afar and stared at the Iron Blood Daoist while laughing. TMPH, who knows whose doomsday has arrived? The Iron Blood Daoist sneered as he tightened his grip on the Phoenix Tribulation. Is that so? Then I will kill you first. The demonic ape of great strength approached the Iron Blood Daoist with a smile. A powerful true demon aura emanated from its body, causing the entire space to tremble as if it could not contain such a powerful demonic body. Extreme Devil Samsara. The demonic ape of great strength roared and attacked the Iron Blood Daoist. A pitch-black vortex appeared in the void and a heaven-devouring power surged out from the vortex, instantly enveloping the Iron Blood Daoist. The demonic ape of great strength roared and attacked the Iron Blood Daoist directly. A pitch-black vortex appeared in the void and a heaven-devouring power surged out from the vortex, instantly enveloping the Iron Blood Daoist. The demonic ape of great strength wanted to send the Iron Blood Daoist into the samsara. Divine Phoenix spreads its wings. The Iron Blood Daoist did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly used the Great Divine Phoenix technique, and an extremely powerful Divine Phoenix shadow rushed out from the Phoenix Tribulation. It was as if a real Divine Phoenix had descended into the world. With just a flap of its wings, it shattered the pitch-black vortex. What? The battle strength displayed by the Iron Blood Daoist was so powerful that even the demonic ape of great strength was shocked. However, this demonic ape was a true demon after all. It had lived for countless years and had extremely rich battle experience. It attacked again and fought against the Iron-blood Daoist. The battle was extremely intense. The battle strength of the two experts could be said to be evenly matched. However, the Iron-blood Daoist had the Emperor armament, the Phoenix Tribulation. As such, the Iron-blood Daoist had the upper hand. Boom! Just as the Iron-blood Daoist and the demonic ape were fighting, a loud bang was heard. The protective barrier of Wanxiang City finally could not withstand the attack of the Sage Demon Dragon and shattered. Countless runes dissipated in the void. Roar! The demon dragon's roar shook the heavens. A gigantic demon dragon the size of a mountain charged into the sky above Wanxiang City. It opened its mouth and was about to spit out demon fire. However, at that moment, a ray of divine light flashed past. The demon dragon in the sky above Wanxiang City crashed down from the sky without even making a sound. What? The Wanxiang City cultivators, who were already in despair, were extremely shocked at this scene. No one expected the Wanxiang City to have such an expert who could kill a sage with a wave of his hand. The demon dragon that fell from the sky did not actually land on the ground. One must know that there were many houses where the demon dragon had landed. If the demon dragon had landed, many people would have died. The demonic dragon was thrown out by a force and smashed into the countless demonic creatures outside the city, instantly killing many of them. Roar! The remaining demonic dragons roared as they instinctively felt threatened. Moreover, these demonic dragons didn't even know how their companions were killed. Are you finally going to make a move? An old voice was heard from outside Wanxiang City. A figure appeared in the sky above Wanxiang City. It was an old man with white hair and beard. At this moment, a figure walked out from the Wanxiang City Lord's residence. That person was Ji Yufei. To be more precise, it was a clone of Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei's clone was also an extremely powerful existence. The battle strength of the clone was not much different from his original body. Swoosh! Ji Yufei's clone soared into the sky and came before the old man. The demon dragon was thrown out by a force and crashed into the countless demonic creatures outside the city, killing many of them instantly. Roar! The remaining demonic dragons roared as they instinctively felt threatened. Moreover, these demonic dragons didn't even know how their companions were killed. Are you finally going to make a move? An old voice was heard from outside Wanxiang City. A figure appeared in the sky above Wanxiang City. It was an old man with white hair and beard. At this moment, a figure walked out from the Wanxiang City Lord's residence. That person was Ji Yufei. To be more precise, it was a clone of Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei's clone was also an extremely powerful existence. The battle strength of the clone was not much different from his original body. Swoosh! Chapter 2807. In the end, the Wanxiang City was breached and the light barrier collapsed. The remaining demonic dragons rushed to the sky above the city, preparing to massacre the living beings in the city. However, at this time, Ji Yufei finally made his move. He casually shot out a beam of divine light that pierced through a demonic dragon and destroyed its primordial spirit. Rumble! The heavens and earth shook and the demonic might was vast and mighty. But at this time, every demonic dragon sensed danger and didn't dare to act rashly. One must know that this was a saint-rank demonic dragon. It was definitely much stronger than an ordinary sage. At this time, Ji Yufei's clone and the old man were facing each other in the sky. The old man stood in the void and all the demonic dragons retreated. You're underestimating me too much. You're only using a clone to fight against me. The old man looked at Ji Yufei and narrowed his eyes. Rays of light shot out from the slits of his eyes and a powerful true demon might erupted from his body. A clone is enough to deal with you, Ji Yufei said calmly. His words were filled with incomparable confidence. At his level of cultivation, even his clone's battle strength wouldn't be weaker than other Saint Venerables. This old true demon's cultivation was only at the Saint Venerable realm. What a big tone! The old true demon was truly angered. He was a big figure in the eastern region Devil Cave. A Saint Venerable true demon could become an old ancestor. But now, he was being looked down upon. It's not that I'm big, But I have the strength. Ji Fei said with a faint smile. He even dared to kill the real true demon ancestor. Why would he be afraid of a mere saint venerable true demon? Although this true demon was very strong, it couldn't be that strong. It was absolutely impossible for him to be mentioned in the same breath as the true demon ancestor. Ha ha, the old true demon laughed angrily. Then let me see if you really have the strength. As the old true demon spoke, he waved his hand and a ball of demonic light immediately rushed out of his hand, instantly turning into a large net that enveloped Ji Fei. The demonic qi was vast and mighty. Ji Fei discovered that the demonic net was actually completely formed from an ancient demonic pattern. It was shaped like a net, but it would be more appropriate to call it a demonic diagram. The demonic inscriptions intertwined and formed a demonic diagram, exuding a terrifying aura of destruction. The most powerful demonic power instantly sealed the void and obliterated Ji Fei. Ji Fei leisurely waved his hand, and a dazzling sword light immediately rushed out from his hand. It cut through the void and fiercely chopped at the demonic diagram that enveloped the area. This was the heaven-punishing sword light, an extreme sword technique. The extremely sharp sword light directly split the demonic diagram in half, and the demonic patterns dissipated in the void. After the sword projection broke through the demonic diagram, it instantly soared for tens of millions of feet, slashing directly toward the old true demon. A terrifying sword chi spread out, and the temperature of the entire world plummeted under the impact of the sword chi. Ji Fei's sword was too powerful. It was as if it wanted to split the entire world in half. Even the living beings thousands of miles away could still feel the cold air invading their bodies, making them feel cold all over. The old true devil couldn't help but be moved by this shocking sword. The power of this sword couldn't be underestimated. His figure blurred and actually left an afterimage on the spot, instantly dodging the attack. Ji Fei's sword only destroyed the afterimage of the old true devil. Rumble. The old devil continued to attack. Demonic patterns rushed out from his body and turned into huge stars, smashing towards Ji Fei in an earth-shattering manner. Each of the huge stars emitted a terrifying power that could crush the world and the void. It was as if a supreme demonic star had appeared in the world, blooming with endless demonic light. This was simply the rhythm of the end of the world. Seeing the huge stars smashing towards him, Ji Fei was still very calm. He naturally wouldn't let these demonic stars fall into Wanxiang City. It must be known that if any of these huge stars fell to the ground, it could instantly destroy Wanxiang City. Watch my flying immortal sword. As Ji Fei spoke, rays of golden light rushed out from his body like a primordial divine lotus blooming. In the next moment, countless rays of primordial sword light soared into the sky, slashing towards the falling stars. The sword light of primal chaos collided with the stars falling from the sky. The stars exploded and were destroyed by the sword light of primal chaos. This was an extremely shocking scene. It was as if a star field had exploded and destroyed the world. All the cultivators in Wanxiang City were stunned when they saw the scene in the sky. Many people didn't know that this person was Ji Fei. Only the core figures of Wanxiang City knew who the black-robed youth in the sky who could contend against the old true devil was. At this time, Ji Fei soared into the sky and directly killed his way into the shattering starry sky. The sky was boiling. Ji Fei was fighting the old true devil. Terrifying fluctuations spread in all directions and even the demonic clouds shrouding the sky were scattered. Although it was only an incarnation, Ji Fei's incarnation was also exceptionally powerful and displayed supreme battle strength. Bang! A figure flew out. The old true devil was sent flying. Demonic blood dripped down from the sky. Before the blood landed on the ground, it started burning in the void, turning into demonic flames that soared into the sky and burned towards Ji Fei. The dark blue demonic fire instantly enveloped the entire sky, burning the void into noiseless annihilation. Mere demonic flames can't do anything to me. Ji Fei's battle intent was like a rainbow. He directly chased after the old true devil. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in the sky above the old true devil. Then, he stomped down. Boom! Another heavy sound of impact resounded. It was as if someone was beating a heavenly drum. The entire sky shook. The old true devil roared and directly fell from the sky. At this time, they were already far away from Wanxiang City. Boom! With a loud sound, the ground trembled. Dust rose high into the sky. The ground undulated violently like waves and then spread out in all directions. The place where the old true devil fell happened to be the place where countless demonic creatures gathered. At the instant the old true devil fell, countless demonic creatures instantly died. When the terrifying fluctuations spread out, countless demonic creatures directly collapsed in the void, turning into clouds of blood mist and dissipating in the air. Roar! The old true devil roared in anger. He never imagined that his opponent would be so powerful. His demonic body was almost torn apart by that person's stomp. Even if his demonic body didn't crack, hideous cracks appeared on it. Demonic blood seeped out from the cracks on his demonic body. Bang! In the next moment, the ground exploded. A demonic shadow rushed out from the ground and directly soared into the sky. Chapter 2808. The old true demon was going crazy. His face had been stepped on, and he had fallen from the sky, smashing into the big pit in the ground once again. Roar! The old true demon was enraged. Terrifying true demon power spread out from his body, causing the whole ground to undulate, and hideous cracks to appear on the ground. Endless demonic chi soared into the sky from the big pit, shrouding the whole world. Why aren't you two coming over to help? Are you just enjoying the scenery? The old true demon's voice came from the depths of the ground. He didn't dare to rush out of the ground rashly. After all, the feeling of his face being stepped on made him want to bang his head against the wall and die. He was a high and mighty true demon. Moreover, he was an expert among the true demons. When had his face ever been stepped on? This was unimaginable. He had never imagined that someone would dare to step on his face in this life. The old true demon had no choice but to ask for help. Only now did he realize that there was a huge gap between him and the black-clothed youth. He couldn't even deal with an incarnation of the other party. Roar! A terrifying demonic roar came from afar. The three true demons who hadn't attacked yet were roaring. The remaining demonic dragons rushed towards Jiu Fei. They opened their mouths and spewed out terrifying demonic fire. The monstrous demonic fire burned towards Jiu Fei. This was the demonic fire. It could burn the sky and boil the sea. It was incomparably terrifying. Even the void was incinerated by the burning of this demonic fire. However, Jiu Fei wasn't afraid of this demonic fire. He waved his hand and unleashed a heaven-punishing sword light. The dazzling sword light was indestructible, and it directly broke through the layers of demonic fire. Then, he slashed a charging demonic dragon in half. Demonic blood splattered everywhere. The huge demonic dragon's corpse fell from the sky and smashed into the ground, creating a big pit. The demonic blood that fell from the sky actually corroded the ground, creating countless holes. The ground was dyed black by the demonic blood. The land that was stained by demonic blood was regarded as an ominous place. After being stained by the demonic blood of a saint-level demonic dragon, this place was no longer suitable for living creatures other than demonic creatures to live in. To be able to easily kill a saint-level demon dragon, this kind of combat power was really shocking. Jiu Fei attacked consecutively and killed all the demonic dragons that were charging at him. This caused everyone on top of Wanxiang City's city wall to be extremely shocked. Those weren't ordinary demonic creatures, they were sacred rank demonic dragons. This was especially true for the heaven, earth, man, and human saints. They were even more shocked, because they knew how powerful these demon dragons were. Only by joining hands could they contend against a single demon dragon. The battle was still ongoing. The heaven, earth, and human saints were fighting the demonic dragon fiercely. Jiu Fei did not seem to have any intention of helping them. The three saints also knew that if they could not even deal with a demon dragon, they would not have the face to work for this savage. Roar! The demon dragon roared and spat out terrifying demon fire at the three saints, forcing them to dodge. Among the three saints, Earth Saint Li Hong's entire body was emitting lightning. Dazzling bolts of lightning shot out from his body and tore through the void. He was like an ancient god of thunder, his body exuding a terrifying aura of destruction, and bolts of lightning circled around him. Infinite lightning strike. Earth Saint Li Hong attacked with all his might. Balls of lightning descended from the sky, smashing towards the demon dragon with a terrifying destructive force. Boom! Balls of lightning exploded, and a large area of demonic fire was shattered by the power of thunder and lightning. Li Hong directly turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed towards the demonic dragon. The powerful lightning tore through the demon dragon's gigantic body, piercing through it and bringing with it a large amount of demon blood. Earth Saint Li Hong's figure appeared in the void. If it was any other living being, they would have been severely injured. One must know that the power of lightning represented destruction. The wounds on the demon dragon's body were still filled with electricity. However, the wounds on the demon dragon's body were still healing rapidly. The electricity that had invaded the demon dragon's body was constantly being forced out by the power of the demon Tao. The power of the great Tao of lightning could not really hurt the demon dragon. Swoosh! Just as the demon dragon was forcing out the power of lightning, a brilliant sword light flashed by, and the demon dragon's mountain-like head fell from the sky. Heaven Saint Du Yu made his move, using his flying sword with all his might to cut off the demon dragon's head. However, a scene that left the three saints dumbfounded appeared. The demon dragon's head was wrapped in a ball of demonic light and flew up. The headless body did not fall from the sky. The dragon's head and body were actually joined together. What? The three saints were shocked to the extreme. Why was this demon dragon so difficult to kill? They had seen Jiyu Fei kill a demon dragon with a single sword strike. It did not seem like there was anything special about it, but when it was their turn, it was so difficult. Actually, they had already figured out the reason behind it. The sword light that Jiyu Fei shot out could directly destroy the demon dragon's life force. Even its essence spirit could be destroyed in an instant. However, they could not destroy the demon dragon's life force. Naturally, this demon dragon would not die. Let's do it. The three saints looked at each other and gritted their teeth. They used their final trump card. They summoned their Tao flames at the same time, wanting to refine this demon dragon alive. Rumble! The heavens and the earth shook violently. The figures of the three saints disappeared. The three of them joined forces and created a furnace. They sealed the demon dragon in the furnace and wanted to refine it into ashes. Divine patterns of the Great Path were imprinted in the void. Within the furnace, Tao flames rose. The demon dragon roared continuously, wanting to rush out of the furnace. However, this time, the three saints were really putting their lives on the line. They wanted to refine this demon dragon even at the cost of their vitality. Soon, the demon dragon in the furnace was charred black by the Tao flames. A meaty aroma wafted out of the furnace. This was a demon dragon roasted in Tao flames. Unfortunately, the demon dragon's flesh could not be eaten. This was because the demon dragon's flesh and blood contained a very strong demonic nature. If a mortal ate this demon dragon's flesh, it was very likely that they would become demonic creatures that only knew how to kill. Even if a cultivator ate this demon dragon's flesh, there was a risk of chi deviation and it would be difficult for them to concentrate on their cultivation. Roar! The demon dragon kept struggling and roaring in the furnace that the three saints had created. Under the refinement of the Tao flames, the demon dragon's flesh, bones, and tendons were constantly turning into ashes. Just as the three saints joined forces to create the furnace to refine the demon dragon, the battle between the Ironblood Taoist and the demonic ape had reached its climax. The demonic ape was extremely powerful, forcing the Ironblood Taoist to constantly retreat. Chapter 2809. The demonic ape was indeed a powerful demon that was comparable to the golden spiritual ape. Its long arms had a terrifying power that could shatter the void. With a wave of its arms, the entire world shook. The Ironblood Taoist was suppressed. Even though he had the Supreme Emperor weapon, the Phoenix Tribulation, it was the same. Without the Phoenix Tribulation, he would have been killed by the demonic ape. Vroom. The Ironblood Taoist used the divine phoenix technique. It was as if he had transformed into a phoenix that had been reborn from the divine flames. The power of the true phoenix was vast and mighty as it fought the demonic ape. Bang! A demonic fist came and sent the divine phoenix that the Ironblood Daoist had transformed into flying. The divine phoenix wailed, but then it soared into the sky again, emitting monstrous true phoenix divine fire. The divine fire of the true phoenix swept towards the Herculean demonic ape in an earth-shattering manner, burning the sky and the void. It was terrifying to the extreme. This was one of the true flames of the Great Path. Lines of the true phoenix could be faintly seen in the flames, drawing upon the power of the true phoenix. It was so powerful that it could burn the sky and boil the sea. Not enough, not enough. You are not strong enough. The demonic ape was surrounded by demonic light. It roared and charged at the Ironblood Daoist. The true phoenix divine fire could not even get close to it. It was repelled by the demonic light. How dare you? The Ironblood Daoist was shocked. He could not really use the power of the Phoenix Tribulation. It should be known that this was an supreme emperor weapon. Even a Saint Venerable would not be able to make this weapon display its true power. Rumble, the divine phoenix flapped its wings. Although it was sent flying again and again, it still fought. The Ironblood Daoist was like a phoenix bathed in fire. He had an immortal body. Just as the Ironblood Daoist was in a difficult battle, the heaven, earth, and man saints had already decided the winner. The body of the demonic dragon sealed in the furnace of heaven and earth had been refined. Only a ball of demonic light wrapped around the demonic dragon's primordial spirit was holding on. There was no doubt that the demonic dragon was powerful. But now, the heaven, earth, and man saints were fighting with all their might. They did not hesitate to use their vitality to draw out the natal fire to refine the demonic dragon. The demonic dragon's protective demonic light was constantly being worn away by the flames of the way. The demonic dragon's primordial spirit within the demonic light kept struggling, but it was powerless. It could not break through the furnace of heaven and earth and escape. It was only a matter of time before the mystic dragon's body and soul were completely destroyed. At this time, Jiu Fei's clone was fighting against the three true demons. A terrifying aura filled the world, causing the countless demonic creatures on the ground to flee for their lives. The flying demonic ants and demonic butterflies in the sky had already flown off somewhere. Jiu Fei's clone was fighting 1 against 3, yet it was still able to handle the situation with ease. This shocked the old true devil to the extreme. He had a bad feeling that this fellow was too powerful. What's going on? How could there be such a person in Wanxiang City? One of the true devils said in a trembling voice. This was a devil spider, a black devil spider. Its 8 claws were like 8 devil spears that pierced through the void, stabbing towards Jiu Fei. The information was wrong. Why don't we retreat? One of the true devils said. This was a devil crocodile, a blood-colored devil crocodile. It was extremely powerful and was at the level of a sage king. The devil crocodile spewed out blood-colored demonic flames, desperately burning towards Jiu Fei. Anything that was burned by the demonic flames would instantly turn into a pile of ashes. However, the blood-colored demonic flames could not burn Jiu Fei's body. Bang! Jiu Fei sent the devil crocodile flying with a punch. The entire head of the devil crocodile exploded, turning into a cloud of blood mist. However, the next moment, the head of the devil crocodile that Jiu Fei had exploded grew out again. It was not killed by Jiu Fei's punch. It continued to fiercely attack Jiu Fei. If one wanted to kill a true demon of this level, ordinary methods would not work. One had to use special methods. However, Jiu Fei did not expect to kill this devil crocodile with a single punch. He had not fought against a creature of this level in a long time. He had not had enough fun yet. Retreat. Impossible. The old true devil flatly refused. It desperately attacked Jiu Fei. It wanted to use this guy's blood to wash away the humiliation it had suffered. Then let's fight. The other 2 true devils could only brace themselves and attack Jiu Fei with all their strength. Swish. The dazzling sword light flashed in the void, and 5 of the demon spider's 8 claws were immediately cut off by the sword light. The devil spider screamed and retreated. Devil blood dripped down from the sky. When the crocodile saw this, it couldn't help but be shocked and also retreated. Only the old true devil charged forward. His extremely powerful true devil power spread out, and the entire world trembled under the power of this devil Tao. This was a huge collision. The old true devil was going all out. The two supreme powers collided, causing destructive energy fluctuations to spread in all directions. Even the demon crocodile, which had retreated to the side, was sent flying by this force. Pitch-black spatial cracks spread out in all directions like bolts of lightning. The old true devil was sent flying again. This time, his devil body cracked in the air, but it instantly reformed as if it had never cracked in the first place. However, the old true devil was very clear that he had already damaged his foundation. He was coughing up blood and his spirit was dispirited. He seemed even older. Let's run. The devil crocodile and the devil spider that had just recovered glanced at each other, then turned and fled. They didn't care about anything else. If they continued to fight, there would only be one result: death. True devils were all old antiques that had lived for countless years. In the entire Eastern Devil Lair, there were only 5 or 6 of them. If 4 of them were killed at once, the Eastern Devil Lair would definitely suffer a great blow. However, everything was already under Ji Yufei's control. Not a single true devil would be able to escape. Alright, that's all for now. It's time to pack up, Ji Yufei's clone said nonchalantly. Then, an extremely sharp sword light shot out from his hand and cut the devil crocodile in half. Swish. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in the sky above the devil spider. Then, he stomped down with his foot. Bam! With a loud bang, the demonic spider was crushed into pieces by his foot. Even its primordial spirit was directly shattered. The devil spider and the devil crocodile were both dead in body and soul. Their huge corpses fell from the sky, causing the ground to shake. Devil blood splattered everywhere, and dust rose high into the sky. Seeing this scene, the old true devil was extremely shocked. It had to be known that those were true devils. Yet, they had been cleanly killed by this person with a single slash of his sword. I'll send you on your way. Ji Yufei strode toward the old true devil, a powerful battle intent surging from his body. Kill. The old true devil knew that he would most likely have to give up his life here today. He threw caution to the wind and crazily urged the power of the demonic path in his body. Rays of light rushed out of his body and turned into shocking demonic swords that pierced towards Ji Yufei. With a single punch, Ji Yufei shattered all of the demonic swords that had pierced through his body. Then, he punched again, shattering the old true devil's demonic body once more. Roar. The old true devil's head flew up. He roared in anger, and the shattered flesh and blood blossomed with a dazzling devil light. Then, they instantly gathered together. A figure once again appeared in the void. Haha, good. I'd like to see how many punches you can take. Ji Yufei laughed heartily and threw another punch at the old true demon. Without any suspense, the old true devil's devil body was once again shattered by Ji Yufei's punch and turned into a cloud of blood mist. However, this old devil was truly extraordinary. He actually condensed another devil body. Swish. The old true devil directly tore through the void, wanting to escape. He was truly afraid now. His opponent definitely had the ability to kill him. If he didn't escape now, there would be no need for him to escape anymore. However, it was impossible for Ji Yufei to let him escape. He wanted to establish his might. He wanted everyone to know that he, Ji Yufei, had returned. Rumble, Ji Yufei stretched out his right hand and directly used the heaven-covering palm. A huge palm appeared between heaven and earth, instantly enveloping the entire sky. Bang! The void exploded. The old true devil who had just escaped into the primal chaos was blasted out by Ji Yufei's palm. The power of the heaven-covering palm erupted, and the old true devil's devil body was once again turned into a cloud of blood mist. This time, the old true devil's devil body recovered very slowly. It took a long time for his devil body to reform. Again. Ji Yufei was extremely domineering. He took a step forward and punched out again. The old true devil was truly afraid. His undying source energy was continuously being whittled away by his opponent. He could already imagine the final outcome. He didn't want to die. However, Everything was no longer under his control. He had already been locked on by Jiyu Fei. He simply couldn't escape, and he couldn't defeat him. This was simply the rhythm of waiting for death. The old true devil's devil body collapsed. Some devil essence within his flesh and blood was annihilated. At this time, everyone watching the battle from afar was dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it. How could there be such an expert in Wanxiang City? It was absolutely impossible, unless that person had returned. Some people had already guessed Jiyu Fei's identity. Moreover, among those who came to watch the battle, there were many people from the Dongfang family and the desolate ancient Zhao family. Some of them had seen Jiyu Fei before. When they saw that valiant and invincible figure, they were even more terrified. That fierce person has returned. The people from the Dongfang family and the desolate ancient Zhao family hurriedly transmitted this news back to their clans. What? That person has returned? The entire Dongfang family was shaken. Even the Eastern Sky Tyrant King was somewhat surprised. That person could actually return from the heaven world alive. This meant that he must have passed the heavenly tribulation. Martial Path Saint Sovereign? Such a voice rang out from the depths of the Dongfang family's ancestral land. When this news reached the desolate ancient Zhao family, the higher-ups of the Zhao family were also incomparably shocked. However, they weren't too worried. This was because the grudge between them and Jiyu Fei had already been resolved. The Dongfang family is going to be in big trouble. Chapter 28:10. There was no suspense in this battle. Jiyu Fei didn't use his real body, only his clone, but he was still incomparably powerful. Even the true devil wasn't a match for him. 2 true devils were killed by him one after another. The old true devil was extremely powerful and had an inextinguishable demonic nature in his body. It wasn't easy to kill this kind of devil. Every time Jiyu Fei's clone punched out, the old true devil's body would be directly smashed and turned into a bloody mist. However, this bloody mist would still condense again and reconstruct the devil's body. However, it took longer and longer for the old devil to reconstruct the devil's body. The inextinguishable demonic nature in his devil's body was constantly being weakened by Jiyu Fei. In the end, the old true devil was tortured to death by Jiyu Fei. The inextinguishable demonic nature in the devil's body was finally completely obliterated, and the devil's body could no longer be reconstructed. A true devil that had lived for countless years was killed in body and soul by Jiyu Fei's clone just like that. As soon as the old true devil died, the Herculean devil ape immediately tore open the void. It wanted to escape, but it couldn't. A golden light descended from the sky. Within the golden light, a golden divine ape directly pounced down. Boom! The golden divine ape waved its fist and sent the Herculean demonic ape flying thousands of meters away. The ape crashed into a mountain peak and smashed the upper half of it. Yuan Hong. Jiyu Fei couldn't help but be startled when he saw the golden divine ape that suddenly appeared. However, the next moment, he knew that this divine ape wasn't Yuan Hong. However, it had to be said that the golden godly ape really looked like Yuan Hong. The golden fur on the godly ape's body was glowing like a ball of burning golden flames. Although this divine ape wasn't Yuan Hong, it was also a golden spirit ape with a very pure bloodline. As soon as the Herculean demonic ape saw this golden divine ape, it immediately flew into a rage and charged forward. The Herculean demonic ape and the divine ape fought fiercely. Boom! The Herculean demonic ape punched out, creating a huge hole in heaven and earth. The golden divine ape was directly knocked into the chaotic void. Roar! The golden ape roared in rage. It broke through the chaos and rushed out, engaging in a fierce battle with the demonic ape of Herculean strength. Powerful metal elemental energy filled the air. This golden ape was very strong and could fight against the Herculean demon ape. This way, the Iron Blood Daoist was relieved. He could rest for a while. Where did this golden ape come from? The Iron Blood Daoist was curious as to why such a powerful being would appear at this time. Only Jiyu Fei vaguely guessed some things. The reason why Yuan Hong came down to the mortal realm was to search for the golden-eyed godly ape lineage in the mortal realm. It seemed like the golden spirit ape lineage really did exist in the mortal realm. After dealing with the old demon, Jiu Fei watched from the side. At this time, his gaze fell on the three saints in the distance. The three saints of heaven, earth, and man did not hesitate to damage their own cultivation and joined forces to create the furnace of heaven and earth, using their own natal flames of the way to refine the demonic dragon. Jiu Fei couldn't help but nod when he saw Du Yu and the other two saints using such a method. These three saints were not bad, but he still needed to observe them for a while before he could be at ease. After experiencing the rebellion of the Southern Heaven Hierarch, Jiu Fei was even more careful. He would not let something like that happen again. In the end, the demon dragon that was sealed in the heaven and earth furnace by the three saints was refined alive. Both its body and soul were destroyed. Now, only the Herculean demonic ape was left among the three invading true demons. However, it had encountered a powerful opponent, the golden spirit ape. The demonic ape and the divine ape seemed to be evenly matched. Neither was able to completely suppress the other. However, the demonic ape was clearly scared. It had personally witnessed the old true demon being killed by Jiu Fei. The old true demon was a true demon that was much stronger than it. If the black-robed young man attacked it, then there would only be one outcome for it, death. However, Jiu Fei had no intention of attacking it. The Herculean demonic ape retreated as it fought. It didn't want to be beaten up by the crowd. Soon, the demonic ape and the golden spirit ape left Wanxiang City and fought deep into the mountains. Meanwhile, the countless demonic creatures surrounding Wanxiang City were retreating rapidly like a receding tide. Roar! A roar resounded from Wanxiang City. A giant ape, as tall as a small mountain and covered in snow-white fur, rushed out of Wanxiang City. A figure was standing on the shoulder of this giant ape. That person was Jiu Ling. The giant ape was the snow ape that Jiu Fei had subdued in the Heaven Realm's snow region. This was an immortal-level snow ape. Its cultivation wasn't great, but it was very ferocious. The snow ape had been given to Jiu Ling by Jiu Fei. At this moment, Jiu Ling was standing on the giant ape's shoulder and excitedly killing the retreating demonic creatures. Jiu Fei couldn't help but shake his head when he saw this scene. Ordinary demonic creatures were naturally no match for Jiu Ling. They were defeated by her, leaving behind countless corpses. Rumble, incomparably shocking sounds came from the mountains. A terrifying demonic aura filled the air. The Herculean demonic ape was indeed a demonic ape that could fight against the golden spirit ape. However, the golden spirit ape wasn't a weakling either. Dull crashing sounds came from the depths of the mountains. The battle between the Herculean demonic ape and the golden spirit ape had reached its climax. Mountain peaks were collapsing and the entire mountain was shaking. Hideous fissures continuously appeared on the ground. Bang! A figure flew out from the depths of the mountains. It was a figure covered in demonic aura. The Herculean demonic ape was actually sent flying by a punch from the golden spirit ape. Demonic blood dripped from the sky. A true demon is only SOSO. The golden spirit ape was very domineering as it chased after the Herculean demonic ape. As it waved its hands, rays of golden light blades rushed out from its hands and slashed at the Herculean demonic ape. Each golden light blade had Tao patterns faintly discernible within it, and each blade light cut through the void. The Herculean demonic ape waved its fists, using its flesh and blood to fight against the light blades. However, the result was unexpected. The Herculean demonic ape's fists were incredible. They actually blocked all the golden light blades that came slashing at it. With each punch, there was a flash of golden light. When the golden light blades collided with the Herculean demonic ape's fists, they were directly shattered by the demonic ape's fists. Boom! Just as the Herculean demonic ape blocked the golden light blades, the golden spirit ape's fists had already smashed into the Herculean demonic ape's shoulders. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard. The Herculean demonic ape was sent flying by the golden spirit ape's fist. This was a diversion tactic. The golden spirit ape had rich combat experience. It pretended to use all its strength to strike the golden light blades, as if it was going to fight the Herculean demonic ape to the death. However, the real attack was the golden spirit ape's fists. Swoosh! The golden spirit ape turned into a beam of golden light and directly chased after the Herculean demonic ape. Its big foot directly stepped on the Herculean demonic ape's head. The Herculean demonic ape was shocked and angry. Its opponent's speed was too fast. In just an instant, the big foot was already in front of it. It could only use its hands to protect its head. Bang! Crack! The sound of impact and bones breaking was heard at the same time. The Herculean demonic ape screamed and fell from the sky. Boom! It hit the ground with a bang, and a cloud of dust rose into the sky. A large pit appeared on the ground. "I'll send you on your way," the golden spirit ape roared. A strong metal elemental power erupted from its body, and its entire body bloomed with dazzling golden light. Rumble, like a golden sun falling from the sky, it emitted a terrifying aura of destruction and directly smashed towards the Herculean demonic ape. The terrifying power wave spread out, and the entire world was shaking. Even Jiu Fei couldn't help but be moved when he saw the golden spirit ape's powerful combat power. The Iron Blood Daoist couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this. One must know that he had been fighting this Herculean demonic ape before, and he knew very well how powerful and terrifying it was. If it wasn't for the Phoenix Tribulation, the Iron Blood Daoist wouldn't be a match for this Herculean demonic ape. However, the Herculean demonic ape was now being suppressed by a golden spirit ape. The golden sun fell from the sky, causing the world to shake. A terrifying aura of destruction erupted from the golden sun. Roar! The Herculean demonic ape kept roaring in the pit. At this moment, the true demon had reached the moment of life and death. It had to fight with all its might. However, even though the Herculean demonic ape was fighting with all its might, it couldn't change anything. Rumble! The earth was shaking, and the ground undulated like waves. The power wave coming from the pit was too powerful. The demonic aura and the golden light intertwined in the pit and cancelled each other out. Soon, the golden light gained the upper hand and suppressed the demonic aura. More than 2 hours later, the Herculean demonic ape was suppressed to death by the golden spirit ape. A rare and incomparably powerful Herculean demonic ape had fallen just like that. After killing the Herculean demonic ape, the golden spirit ape left immediately, ignoring Jiu Fei and the others. "We won! We won!" The demons retreated. When the news spread to Wanxiang City, everyone was extremely excited. They actually repelled the attack of the demons. This was simply a miracle. One must know that the invaders were the true demons, the 4 great true demons. However, so what if they were true demons? They could still be injured and die. As long as one had enough power, even a true demon could be killed with a single slash. The entire Wanxiang City was in an uproar. Everyone knew who had returned. This was a famous villain in the human world. They didn't expect him to return from the heaven realm. Jiu Fei's battle had shocked the Eastern Demon Den. The death of the 4 great true demons was definitely a heavy loss to the Eastern Demon Den. Chapter 28:11. Jiu Fei's return was absolutely a huge matter to the various powers of the Eastern Territory of the Mortal Dimension because he alone was capable of changing the situation of the powers in the entire Eastern Territory. With the return of this ferocious person, Wanxiang City was no longer a pushover that could be easily bullied. The Eastern Domain demons were utterly defeated by Jiu Fei in Wanxiang City. The 4 true demons fell and countless demonic creatures became cannon fodder. The news spread out and shocked everyone. This was especially true for Jiu Fei's enemies, who were even more restless. That guy actually came back alive. A sigh came from the Dongfang family's ancestral ground. Of course, Jiu Fei promised Ghost Emperor Fengju that he wouldn't act against the Dongfang family. However, everyone knew that the grudge between Jiu Fei and the Dongfang family would definitely be settled one day. The Western Earth Buddhist sect and Jiu Fei also had a great karma. Jiu Fei's return also made the Western Earth Buddhist sect very uneasy. While all the major powers were watching, Gulling was having a lot of fun in the mountains outside Wanxiang City. She brought the snow ape to hunt demonic creatures in the mountains. Boom! A loud sound came from a valley. A demonic spider the size of a mountain fell from the sky. Very quickly, The demonic blood that seeped out from the spider's body formed a small stream that flowed outwards. "Ha ha, little white, well done." Gullink's laughter could be heard. A figure descended from the sky and landed on the ground with a bang. It was a white ape that was more than 10 jong tall. On the white ape's shoulder stood a masked woman. This woman was Gulling. "Let's continue," Gulling said. "Roar." The white ape roared towards the sky and leaped up, directly flying out of the valley. Outside the valley, a black figure was quickly escaping. It was a demonic wolf. Although countless demonic creatures had retreated, there were still quite a number of lone demonic creatures in the mountains. Little Master is really worrisome. Just as Jiu Ling was about to leave, a figure appeared in the valley. This person was the Iron Blood Daoist. He was secretly protecting Jiu Ling. One had to know that Gulling's cultivation hadn't reached the saint rank yet. If she encountered a powerful saint rank demon, she would be in danger. Thus, Iron Blood Daoist had to follow Gulling in secret. Jiu Ling's cultivation could break through to the saint realm at any time, but it was definitely not a good choice to undergo the tribulation in the human world. Because the great Tao laws in the mortal realm were incomplete, if one were to undergo tribulation to become a sage in the mortal realm, the sage laws would also be incomplete. This would affect Jiu Ling's future cultivation. If he wanted to undergo tribulation, he could only go to the heaven realm. Meanwhile, in Wanxiang City, Jiu Fei had dispatched many people to investigate the movements of the various parties because he needed to know the current situation in the mortal dimension. Especially the situation in the eastern region. In his opinion, there was only one word that could describe the eastern domain, and that was chaotic. Demons were no longer willing to hide in their devil's dens, and they wanted to come out. Meanwhile, the other forces were constantly fighting for their own territories. Even the Dongfang clan and the primordial Zhao clan had conflicts from time to time. The alliance between the two clans had long existed in name only. Following Jiu Fei's return, the situation in the eastern domain of the mortal realm had become subtle. Even the demons had restrained themselves and were no longer as unscrupulous as before. Jiu Fei didn't forget the purpose of his return. Soon, he sent more people to search for traces of Heavenly Emperor Ziyang, the immortal demon child, and the others. However, ever since the Southern Heaven Supreme Theater's rebellion, no one knew where they had hidden themselves. He didn't know how the Red Dragon and Yarrow Yu were now. Jiu Fei still had high hopes for these two disciples of his. He even asked the old tortoise for the Red Dragon's true blood of the ancestral dragon. For a creature like the Red Dragon, the ancestral dragon's true blood could completely transform him into a true dragon, and there was a chance for him to become a powerful ancestral dragon. However, if he couldn't find them, everything would be in vain. At the same time, he also wanted to find his senior and junior brothers who were separated from him in the past and rebuild the Taishen sect. However, he didn't know whether Li Lingfeng was alive or dead, and he couldn't find Zhao Ziru. All of this made Jiu Fei very depressed. I'll pay Jiang Renhuang a visit first. I'll think about it after I return to the mountain and river cauldron. Jiu Fei thought of the old tortoise's request. That guy wanted to go somewhere to obtain a great fortune, so he naturally had to help him. Moreover, the great fortune might not necessarily belong to the old tortoise. A great fortune was obtained by the fated one. A great fortune that the old tortoise was thinking about was naturally extraordinary. He was also very curious about what kind of fortune it was that the old tortoise had been thinking about for so many years. Jiu Fei then summoned Zhu Galiang and gave him some instructions. He left a clone to oversee the Wanxiang city before he boarded the teleportation formation platform in the Wanxiang city and traveled across the region. The Jiang family of the primordial clan, the place where the human emperor cultivated, was like a paradise. It was a valley located deep within the ancestral ground of the Jiang family. At that moment, two figures were sitting on a boulder in the valley. Jiang Renhuang was wearing a beast skin, and his long hair was draped over his shoulders. Beside him were two items, a bone club and a bronze cauldron. Opposite the human emperor sat a black-haired young man. An aura of the great Tao spread from the young man's body. The person was none other than Jiu Zhong. Jiu Zhong, Jiu Fei's first disciple. On the day Jiyu Fei ascended into the sky, he had stayed behind and followed Jiang Renhuang. Under the guidance of Jiang Renhuang, his cultivation had improved greatly. He had already reached the peak of the Saint Ruler realm. The news of Jiyu Fei's return had not reached the Jiang family of the primordial yet. In fact, even if it had reached the Jiang family, no one in the Jiang family would have dared to disturb the human emperor's cultivation. Everyone in the Jiang family was envious of Jiyu Zhong. After all, no one in the Jiang family had received personal guidance from Jiang Renhuang, but an outsider was cultivating with the ancestor of the human emperor. Some people in the Jiang family could not help but feel resentful towards Jiyu Zhong. However, the ancestor of the human emperor was supreme in the Jiang family. Even the leader of the Jiang family did not dare to have any complaints, let alone the others. Your talent is not bad. You will be able to undergo the divine tribulation in the future. Jiang Renhuang suddenly opened his eyes and said to Jiyu Zhong, "Thank you for your guidance, Senior Renhuang." Jiyu Zhong said gratefully from the bottom of his heart. If it were not for the guidance of the human emperor, his cultivation would definitely not have improved so quickly. In this chaotic place, the higher one's cultivation, the greater the chance of survival. This was without a doubt. Buzz. At that moment, the bronze cauldron beside Jiang Renhuang suddenly let out a vibrating sound. At the same time, the runes on a teleportation formation platform in the Jiang family of the primordial began to light up. A powerful wave of energy spread out from the teleportation formation platform. Someone was coming from another region. I did not expect him to return so soon. Chapter 28:12. Buzz. In the Jiang clan's ancestral ground, an ancient teleportation array platform began to vibrate. Runes emerged on the black platform and interweaved into a mysterious array diagram. The space above the platform began to distort as a silhouette crossed the boundary. At this moment, in the Jiang clan's ancestral ground, the higher-ups of the Jiang clan were alarmed and immediately rushed over. It was not a small matter for someone to directly enter the Jiang clan's ancestral ground from the outside world. The ancient array platform had not been activated for a long time. The person who came was definitely not a core member of the Jiang clan, because the core disciples of the Jiang clan were all cultivating in the ancestral ground. Before the Great Change, all the major forces were preparing. Many chose to cultivate in seclusion, while others chose to enter the boundless secular world to experience the various aspects of life. Various methods to increase one's cultivation were carried out by people. After the power of the world disappeared, there were indeed a few people in the mortal world who successfully passed the heavenly tribulation and became a sage. However, the majority of them died under the heavenly tribulation. Not just anyone could take that step and successfully become a saint. However, those who could become a saint were definitely extremely talented. The clan leader of the Jiang clan of the Desolate clan had arrived, along with a group of elders. However, when they saw the person who crossed the boundary, they were extremely shocked. "You actually came back alive." The clan leader's voice trembled slightly. The fact that this person could come back alive meant that this person had successfully passed the heavenly tribulation of the heavenly tribulation. What kind of concept was this? Another Saint Venerable of the Martial Tao had appeared in this world. The Saint Venerable of the Martial Tao was definitely the Emperor of the Saint Venerables. He could be said to be invincible in the same realm. Ordinary Saint Venerables were like children before him, unable to withstand a single blow. The Jiang clan of the Desolate clan was a clan that had existed for countless years and had even experienced the darkest era of the ancient times. As the higher-ups of the Jiang clan, they naturally knew many secrets that outsiders did not. Clan leader Jiang, it's been a while. Jiyu Fei appeared on the ancient array platform and cupped his fists at the Jiang clan leader. "Ha, congratulations, little friend." The master of the Jiang family did not dare to be negligent. He hurriedly cupped his hands and said to Jiyu Fei. Putting aside the fact that Jiyu Fei had a friendship with the old ancestor, his cultivation was worthy of being treated seriously. Jiyu Fei then walked down from the ancient formation platform and was ushered into a large hall by the Jiang clan master. "I believe Senior Jiang already knows why I'm here." After sitting down, Jiyu Fei spoke to the Jiang family leader. After all, the other party was the Jiang family leader who had attained the Dao before Ji Fei. There was nothing wrong with addressing him as senior. Of course, with Ji Fei's current cultivation and battle prowess, he was definitely above the Jiang family's patriarch. He could be on the same level as the Jiang family's patriarch. At this moment, there were many important figures of the Jiang family standing in the main hall. At the entrance of the main hall, there were also many Jiang family geniuses walking around. Many talents of the Jiang family wanted to meet this person who was rumored to be a close friend of the old ancestor. Someone who was valued by the old ancestor of the Jiang family was definitely extraordinary. However, when they saw Ji Fei, they were a little disappointed because Ji Fei's body did not emit any powerful Dao runes or aura at all. In the eyes of the Jiang family's talents, this should not be the case. However, only the saints of the previous generation of the Jiang family knew that this black-robed young man was very impressive. He had actually cultivated to the return to origin realm. Yes, I'll go see the old ancestor personally. The Jiang family leader nodded. He naturally knew the reason for Ji Fei's visit. After all, the mountain and river cauldron was still in the hands of the old ancestor. That legendary ancient cauldron belonged to Ji Fei. The old ancestor was only temporarily keeping it on behalf of Ji Fei. Just as the Jiang family leader was about to leave for Jiang Runhuang's place of cultivation, a beam of divine light suddenly descended from the sky and enveloped Ji Fei. In the next moment, Ji Fei disappeared. This, the higher-ups of the Jiang family in the main hall could not help but be moved. It seems that the old ancestor also knows that Ji Fei is here. The Jiang family leader said. At this moment, in the valley where Jiang Renhuang was, a figure was guided by a beam of divine light and appeared directly on a large rock. Greetings, Senior Renhuang. Ji Fei did not dare to be negligent and quickly bowed to the figure sitting in front of him. Jiang Renhuang waved his hand and signaled for Ji Fei to sit down. Greetings, Master. A young man standing next to Jiang Renhuang bowed to Ji Fei. Yes. Ji Fei nodded and then sat opposite Jiang Renhuang. You really surprised me. You came back so quickly. The Heaven Realm's forbidden area is also your doing, right? Jiang Renhuang said. Senior Renhuang is indeed amazing. You even know this. Ji Fei smiled. In fact, with Jiang Renhuang's cultivation, how could he not know what was going on when the Heaven Realm caused such a huge commotion? It's not that I am amazing, it's that you are too good at making trouble. I guess those people are having a headache now. Jiang Renhuang suddenly smiled and said. Those people. Hearing this, Ji Fei couldn't help but be startled. Then, his eyes brightened. This was definitely a great secret. The people Jiang Renhuang mentioned were most likely the ones who disappeared. All right, take your cauldron and leave with your disciple. Jiang Renhuang laughed and scolded. This. Senior Renhuang, I still want to stay here for a while before leaving. Ji Fei said shamelessly. Being able to receive guidance from the human sovereign was his good fortune. Now, even he was envious of Ji Zhong. This guy could actually follow the human sovereign for a period of time. Leave. Jiang Renhuang waved his hand. A ball of golden light immediately enveloped Ji Fei and Ji Zhong. Then, they disappeared into the void. Eastern Domain, Wanxiang City. The Iron-Blood Daoist's life was too hard. He had a bitter look on his face all day because he realized that his little master really knew how to play. Then, he was tortured to death. There were countless demonic creatures hiding in the mountains outside of Wanxiang City. Ji Ling would go into the mountains to hunt them almost every day. The Iron-Blood Daoist would secretly follow Ji Ling and make sure that she did not find him. Early in the morning, Ji Ling brought the snow ape and rushed into the mountains. At noon, a beam of divine light suddenly descended from the sky and fell into Wanxiang City. Within the golden light, two figures appeared. Everyone in Wanxiang City was shocked. Zhu Guliang and the three saints immediately rushed over. However, they were extremely excited when they saw the two figures in the divine light. They were Ji Fei and Ji Zhong, the master and disciple pair. Jiang Runhuang's divine power was truly unimaginable. With a wave of his hand, he sent them back to Wanxiang City. Mountain and River Cauldron. When Ji Yufei landed on the ground, he suddenly came to a realization. Chapter 28:13. Myriad Phenomenon City. In the main hall of the City Lord's mansion, Ji Yufei rubbed the bump on his head and glanced at his subordinates. Ji Yuling had also returned. She stood beside Ji Yufei and wanted to laugh, but she didn't dare to. Her undefeatable father actually had a big bump smashed on his head. This was too hilarious. The people in the main hall also felt the same, but no one dared to laugh out loud. One should know that the person sitting in the main hall was a fierce man, famous in both the mortal world and the heavenly realm. Yang and the two children were still in Ji Yufei's inner world. At this time, the two children should work hard to improve their cultivation. Yang had always liked peace and didn't like fighting and killing, so she stayed in Ji Yufei's inner world and enjoyed the peace. Gulling, on the other hand, was a person who couldn't calm down. This was very different from her mother. If it wasn't for the news that her father had returned, she would still be hunting demonic creatures in the mountains. "Father, if there's nothing important, I can't go out for a breather." Gulling rolled her eyes and said to Ji Yufei. A fist-sized furry monkey was sitting on her shoulder. "En." Ji Yufei nodded. "Oh, yeah." Ji Yuling cheered and immediately rushed out of the hall as if she was escaping. "Sigh." Ji Yufei shook his head. His daughter was really too restless. "Master, what should we do next?" Ji Yuzhong said. "Take back our lost territory and fight whoever we don't like." Ji Yufei said in a deep voice. Everyone in the main hall couldn't help but feel their blood boil when they heard Ji Yufei's words. Ever since Ji Yufei went to the heavenly realm, their territory was constantly being eroded. Originally, they still had more than a dozen small cities in addition to Wanxiang City. But now, other than Wanxiang City, those cities had already changed owners. In the eastern region of the mortal world, other than the Dongfang family, the desolate Zhao family, and the eastern region Devil Den, there were also many great sects and clans. However, these forces were either attached to the primordial Zhao family or the Dongfang family. Naturally, no human forces dared to seek refuge in the eastern region Devil Den. One had to know that defecting to the Demon's Den was equivalent to becoming enemies with all living beings in the world. No one was willing to do so. The other forces in the eastern region naturally did not think highly of the Wanxiang City, especially after Ji Yufei left and Ji Yuzhong followed Jiang Renhuang. The Wanxiang City only had the Iron Blood Taoist. The reason why Wanxiang City was still able to exist was that all the forces were wary of Ji Yufei and didn't dare to rashly attack Wanxiang City. Another reason was the relationship between Ji Yufei and Jiang Renhuang. There was news that Ghost Emperor Fengju also had some friendship with Ji Yufei. Whether it was Jiang Renhuang or the Ghost King of Fengju, they were not people to be trifled with. Even the Zhao family and the Dongfang family of the antiquity didn't want to offend them. Thus, the Wanxiang City was able to remain in control despite being surrounded by powerful enemies. However, now that Ji Yufei had returned, everything would be different. "All right, go and get ready. From tomorrow onwards, we will sweep through everything." Ji Yufei said loudly. "Yes." Everyone hurriedly accepted the order. They had been too sullen these days and it was time to vent. However, they didn't know who would be the first to be unlucky. Soon, everyone dispersed and went to prepare. Only Ji Yuzhong, the Iron Blood Taoist, and Zhuge Liang were left in the main hall. The three saints of heaven, earth, and man performed well during the attack of the true demons, but they still couldn't become Ji Yufei's core team. This test was not enough. "Master, who are we going to attack tomorrow?" Ji Yuzhong said. "There are those who dare to attack us." Ji Yufei pondered for a moment and asked, "My lord, there are three powers that are attacking our cities. One of them is the Ninth Heaven sect. Out of our 12 cities, 5 of them have been occupied by them." Zhuge Liang said. "As for the other 7 cities, they are occupied by the Nine-Shade Cult and the Celestial Palace. The Nine-Shade Cult occupies 3 cities and the Celestial Palace occupies 4. Generally speaking, the Nine Heavens sect is the strongest of the 3. The Iron Blood Taoist added. "Very well, We will start with them tomorrow. Ji Yufei said expressionlessly. After that, he stood up, turned around, and walked into the rear hall. We will start with the three forces at the same time. Ji Yuzhong and the rest were startled. Although these three forces couldn't be compared to the Desolate Era's Zhao clan and the other superforces, they still had experts overseeing them. These three forces had powerful backers behind them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared to attack Ji Yufei's territory. Finally, it's time to go all out. The Iron-Blood Taoist said excitedly and walked out of the main hall. Ji Yuzhong and Zhuge Liang also left the main hall to prepare. This was a big matter and they only had 1 day to prepare. A day passed by quickly. When the sky brightened, silhouettes walked out from every corner of Wanxiang City and gathered at the square in front of the city lord's mansion. Other than the 10 million soldiers from Xiangqing, there were also 2,000 cultivators gathered at the square. Those who were neutral before began to change their attitude. Very well. Ji Yufei didn't show himself, but he could sense the people on the square. 3,000 cultivators was not a weak force. Among these cultivators, there was no lack of experts and experts. There were even a few quasi-saints who came to join them. Soon, Ji Yuzhong appeared. He passionately said a bunch of words to boost the morale of the people on the square before he started assigning tasks. If they wanted to join Ji Yufei, then they must show some sincerity. Soon after, 1,000 soldiers and 2,000 cultivators left Wanxiang City and spread out, heading towards the 12 small cities near Wanxiang City. Unexpectedly, the 1,000 soldiers and the other cultivators did not meet any resistance and took over the 12 cities from the 3 major sects. The 12 cities returned to Ji Yufei's hands. The people from the 3 major sects were tactful and immediately retreated after knowing that Ji Yufei had returned. However, this matter would not end just like that. Under Ji Yuzhong's lead, a portion of the cultivators in Wanxiang City charged towards the 9 Heaven sect. This shocked the entire sect. The other 2 sects were also facing the same situation. The Iron-Blood Taoist personally led a group of subordinates and surrounded the 9-Shade cult. At the same time, Zhuge Liang and the 3 saints blocked the Palace Lord of Heaven Palace in the main hall of Heaven Palace. Heaven Palace was facing the danger of being destroyed. At this moment, the Palace Lord of Heaven Palace was filled with regret. He shouldn't have tried to invade Ji Yufei's territory. The Heaven Palace and the Zhao family of the Desolates were very close. However, when the Palace Lord of Heaven Palace asked the Zhao family for help, not a single person from the Zhao family came to save him. The Palace Master of the Celestial Palace was a saint. Moreover, he was a Saint King. His cultivation was incomparably strong. However, this Saint King knew what he was about to face. Among the 3 saints, the Heavenly Sage was a Sage King. To the Heavenly Sage Du Yu, the Palace Lord of Heaven Palace was a good opponent. The battle between the Heavenly Sage and the Palace Lord of Heaven Palace was unavoidable because there was no longer a need for the Heaven Palace to exist. Ji Yufei wanted to destroy the Heaven Palace. Rumble, the heavens and earth shook. The 2 figures moved quickly in the sky. The battle between the Sage Kings was extremely intense. Every now and then, the blood of the Sage Kings would drip from the sky. Every drop of the Sage King's blood emitted a dazzling blood-red light. The earth was dyed red, causing people's hearts to palpitate. Without any suspense, the Palace Lord of Heaven Palace was finally defeated by the Heavenly Sage Du Yu. He was killed by Du Yu and the Heaven Palace was destroyed. When the Heaven Palace was destroyed, the Iron-Blood Taoist also made his move against the 9-Yin cult. The Phoenix Tribulation rose from his hand and floated above the 9-Yin temple of the 9-Yin cult, stabilizing the area. Iron-Blood Taoist, you are going too far. An angry roar came from the 9-Yin temple. Then, a figure appeared outside the gate of the 9-Yin temple. It was an old man with white hair and a youthful complexion. This old man was surrounded by yin qi. The temperature of the entire area dropped rapidly because of his appearance. The 9-Yin cult was a great cult that cultivated the power of yin. In the Eastern domain, the power of the 9-Yin cult wasn't small. However, they chose to rely on the Dongfang family. Mph, 9 friends, if you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Just accept your fate. The Iron-Blood Daoist sneered. Iron-Blood Daoist, if you go too far, it won't do you any good. The 9-year-old man stared at the Iron-Blood Daoist and gritted his teeth. He had already expected this day to come, but he didn't expect it to come so soon. In fact, the 9-yin cult was betting that Jiu Fei would fail his heavenly tribulation. If Jiu Fei failed his heavenly tribulation, then they could attack Wanxiang City. However, if Jiu Fei succeeded his heavenly tribulation and returned to Wanxiang City, then they would be out of luck. The truth was that Jiu Fei didn't die under the heavenly tribulation. He came back alive and defeated the 4 true demons of the demons. His might was unfathomable. The battle between Jiu Fei and the 4 true demons shook the world. The people of the 9-yin cult, the Heaven Palace, and the 9 Heavens sect were terrified. They quickly gave up their occupation of the small cities and retreated from them. This was also the reason why Jiu Zhong and the others were able to take over the 12 cities without any resistance. "Mph, I want to go too far. What can you do to me?" The Iron-Blood Daoist looked at the 9-year-old man and said coldly, "Kill." The 9-year-old man roared and directly attacked the Iron-Blood Daoist. A black moon appeared behind him, emitting a heart-palpitating wave. Buzz. The space trembled and a black moon rose from the back of the old man of 9 yin. Then, it pressed down on the Iron-Blood Daoist. The space was shaken by the great force and ripples that could be seen with the naked eye appeared. The Iron-Blood Daoist sneered and threw a punch at the incoming black moon. A ball of fire rushed out from his fist. Boom! With a loud bang, the Iron-Blood Daoist's fist fiercely smashed into the descending black moon. The black moon was actually sent flying by the force of the impact. Swoosh. Chapter 28:14. The 9-yin cult was one of the great sects in the eastern region. The reason why it was a great sect was that there was a great ancestor overseeing it. The 9-yin elder was a sage king. A sect with a sage overseeing it could not be called a great sect, but it was different for a sect with a sage overseeing it. A sage king was not an ordinary person. There were many of them, and those who could cultivate to become a sage king were not simple. However, the Iron-Blood Daoist had mastered the Phoenix Tribulation, and he was also a sage king. He was extremely powerful, and with one punch, he shook off the black moon that the 9-yin elder had conjured. In an instant, he was in front of the 9-yin elder. Without any hesitation, the Iron-Blood Daoist threw a punch at the 9-yin elder. On his fist, a ball of divine fire appeared and emitted a blinding light. Rumble! The entire world shook under the Iron-Blood Daoist's fist. In the light of the fire, divine Phoenix Tao patterns appeared indistinctly, activating the power of the Great Path. The divine Phoenix fire was the nemesis of the power of Yin. 10,000 miles of ice. The 9-yin elder roared angrily, and a blue divine light spread from his body. Everything that was enveloped by this divine light was instantly frozen, and even the void was frozen. The entire world was instantly frozen, and all the disciples of the 9-yin cult were not spared. They were all frozen into ice sculptures by the power of Yin. The terrifying power of Yin spread out, and all the living creatures within a radius of 10,000 miles were frozen. It was unknown how many living creatures were instantly frozen to death. The people that the Iron-Blood Daoist brought with him had already retreated 10,000 miles away, and they just happened to escape the disaster. They were not affected by the mighty power of Yin. The 9-yin elder was decisive in killing. For his own survival, he did not care about the lives of others, even if they were his disciples or his descendants. To the 9-yin elder, as long as he was alive, he did not care about the lives of others. Good Lord! The Iron-Blood Daoist was extremely shocked. He only felt his body tighten, and a cold air attacked his body. The surging blood in his body actually felt like it was frozen. A layer of transparent ice appeared on his body, and he was actually frozen. The divine Phoenix true fire on his body was actually suppressed by his opponent's power of Yin. Go to hell! Old man Join's face was ferocious as he punched the frozen Iron-Blood Daoist. He wanted to shatter the frozen Iron-Blood Daoist. However, just as the 9th-yin old man's fist was about to hit the Iron-Blood Daoist, there was a boom sound. Ice shards flew and the ice on the Iron-Blood Daoist's body instantly exploded. Bang! A ball of flame spread out in all directions. Then, a fist that was wreathed in real fire collided with the old man of Nine Yin's fist. A dull sound was heard. The two figures quickly separated and then charged at each other again. This was an evenly matched battle. Both of them were saint rulers, but the Nine Yin elder became extremely worried. This was because the opponent had used the Phoenix's tribulation to seal off an entire region, cutting off his path of retreat. The only way to escape was to kill him. However, the 9-year-old man knew very well that it would not be easy to kill the other party since the other party had the Phoenix tribulation. You should just accept your fate, the Ironblood Daoist said as he fought with the 9-year-old man. He was still at ease. Fellow Ironblood, don't go too far. You should know that even a cornered dog will jump over a wall, let alone a human. The 9-year-old man waved his hand to disperse a few fire blades that were slashing at him as he spoke. He was an old saint ruler and had extremely rich battle experience. TMPH, you don't have to talk nonsense. If you knew that this would happen, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. The Ironblood Daoist said. Buzz. His hands danced, and a series of true fire divine swords appeared in the void. Then, they pierced towards the old man of the 9 yin. The cold sword chi spread out, causing people to feel a chill throughout their bodies. It was as if a real divine sword was pressed against their throats. Seal for me. The 9-year-old man pressed his right hand forward, and the fire swords that were piercing towards him were immediately frozen by the power of yin that spread out from his hand. The divine phoenix true fire was being extinguished. I'm done playing with you, the Ironblood Daoist suddenly said. Oh no. The old man of the 9 yin was shocked when he heard this. At this time, he heard an incomparably shocking rumbling sound coming from above his head. He suddenly raised his head and saw that the endless true fire had condensed into a divine phoenix in the sky. This divine phoenix was descending from the sky. Rumble, the mighty power of the divine phoenix surged from the body of the divine phoenix. Monstrous divine fire swept across the sky and enveloped the entire sky. It was extremely terrifying. Break. The 9-year-old man roared and desperately tried to tear the void to escape. Unfortunately, the power of the Phoenix tribulation had sealed the void in this part of the world. He could not escape at all. Save some energy. The Ironblood Daoist sneered. He activated the power of the Phoenix tribulation. Endless fire descended from the sky and turned into a furnace, sealing the 9-year-old man within it. A divine phoenix floated above the furnace, exuding the mighty power of a true phoenix. At that moment, the Ironblood Daoist flew forward and landed on the back of the divine phoenix. He then sat down cross-legged and used his power to refine the 9-year-old man. That divine phoenix was formed by the Phoenix tribulation. Roar. The 9-year-old man's roar came from within the furnace. Ironblood Daoist, please have mercy. I am willing to surrender. The 9-year-old man was shocked and angry at the same time. He was now in great danger. He was actually trapped in a furnace, and the power of the true Phoenix divine fire was his nemesis. The power of the Tai Yin in his body was constantly being refined by the furnace. He would end up in a miserable state. He would be refined to death by the Ironblood Daoist, and both his body and soul would be destroyed. It's too late now. The Ironblood Daoist, who was sitting cross-legged on the Phoenix tribulation, shook his head and said. He was very clear that the 9-yin cult was very close to the Dongfang family. The 9-yin cult had already surrendered to the Dongfang family. However, at this time, no one from the Dongfang family came to save the 9-yin-old man. This result made the 9-yin cult disappointed. The 9-yin-old man begged bitterly, but the Ironblood Daoist was unmoved. He continued to activate the Phoenix tribulation with all his strength. The terrifying power of the true Phoenix constantly surged out from the Phoenix tribulation. Very quickly, the 9-yin-old man's body was refined. Only a ball of spiritual divine light was left in the blazing furnace. There was no more suspense. The Ironblood Daoist had gotten rid of the 9-yin cult. At this time, Jiyu Zhong brought a group of subordinates and came to the 9 Heavens sect. The 9 Heavens mountain was very famous in the eastern region because many peerless experts had come from this place. But now, The Nine Heavens Mountain was in a mess. Jiyu Zhong had come personally, and the entire Nine Heavens sect was shocked. Even the Lord of the Nine Heavens sect was terrified. There was nothing much to say. Jiyu Zhong immediately ordered the Nine Heavens Mountain to be sealed. Then, he climbed the mountain alone. No one dared to stop Jiyu Zhong on the Nine Heavens Mountain. He directly climbed the mountain and came to a great hall at the peak of the mountain. Lord of the Nine Heavens sect, come out and accept your death. Jiyu Zhong's voice spread far and wide, echoing in the mountains. Jiyu Zhong, my friend, you have gone too far. An old voice resounded from the great hall. Then, a black-bearded old man walked out from the great hall. He was wearing a black robe and was holding a stone mountain in his hand. I have gone too far. Haha, this is too funny. Jiyu Zhong laughed and stared at the black-bearded old man. When these fellows were robbing his city, he didn't say that he had gone too far. He had no intention of being lenient. Looks like there's no room for negotiation. That black-robed old man coldly spoke. A supreme aura erupted from his body, causing even the void to tremble as a series of pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the air. Die! Jiyu Zhong took a step forward and displayed his speed of 8 steps. In an instant, he was near the black-bearded old man. Then, he threw a punch. An extremely powerful force rushed towards the black-bearded old man. Beyond the Nine Heavens, the black-bearded old man roared in anger. In the next moment, his body became blurry and he left behind an afterimage in the sky. His real body had already retreated far away. Jiyu Zhong couldn't help but be startled. His opponent's movement technique was extraordinary. Jiyu Zhong regained his composure. His body flickered and he chased after the black-bearded old man. The black-bearded old man wanted to lure Jiyu Zhong away. He rushed down the mountain. The people of the Ninth Heaven sect were stunned. Their patriarch was being chased down the mountain. You can't escape. Why struggle? Jiyu Zhong shouted. They were all saint rulers. One after another, they rushed down the mountain and entered the depths of the mountain. A great battle broke out. The earth shook and the mountains shook. One couldn't deny that the patriarch of the Ninth Heaven sect was very strong. He was the strongest among the 3 great powers. However, he still died in Jiyu Zhong's hands. This battle directly destroyed a mountain range, the ground was hit until it sank, and countless living beings fell. In the end, Jiyu Zhong killed the patriarch of the Ninth Heaven sect. From then on, the Ninth Heaven sect was finished. Nobody dared to come and save the patriarch of the Ninth Heaven sect. The people of the 3 great sects were used by the other great powers. When Jiyu Fei returned, he would settle the score with the 3 great sects. The powers behind the 3 great sects couldn't protect them. No one was willing to offend the current Jiyu Fei because Jiyu Fei had already grown up. He was no longer the Jiyu Fei who was chased by people with no way out. Jiyu Fei had sent his subordinates to destroy the Ninth Heaven sect and the other 2 great sects. This shocked all the great powers in the eastern region. The eastern region was shaken. Everyone was in danger. Even the Zhao family and the Dongfang family of the antiquity felt great pressure. If that person attacked them, they would definitely be in trouble. Some people were very optimistic. They thought that Jiyu Fei wouldn't attack the great powers. Chapter 28:15. The battle had ended, but it had shaken the entire eastern region. Many people knew that Jiyu Fei wouldn't just annihilate the 3 major sects. He definitely had other plans, and many people were watching. One must know that Jiyu Fei was famous for being fierce. The 3 major sects dared to snatch Jiyu Fei's territory because they had a powerful backer behind them. Without the instigation of the mastermind, the 3 major sects wouldn't dare to offend Jiyu Fei. Now that Jiyu Fei had returned, he definitely wouldn't swallow his anger. This wasn't the style of the fierce Jiyu Fei. Whoever dared to provoke him, even if it was the emperor, he would dare to beat them up first. At noon, Jiyu Zhong was the first to return to Wanxiang City with a group of subordinates. He left a small group of people to guard the cities that he had seized back, while the Nine Heavens sect's territory was frozen. The Nine Heavens mountain had become an ice mountain. The power of yin at the Sage King level enveloped the entire Nine Heavens mountain. Living beings below the Sage level didn't dare to go there, because they would be frozen to death before they even got close to the frozen Nine Heavens mountain. Jiyu Zhong only attacked the treasury of the Nine Heavens sect and looted all the accumulated treasures of the Nine Heavens sect. Then, he left the mountain. In the evening, the Iron Blood Daoist also returned. Old Man Join's body and soul were completely destroyed by the heaven and earth furnace that he had created. All the higher-ups of the Nine Heavens sect were killed, and only some ordinary disciples were left. It didn't matter if the ordinary disciples were killed or not. The Iron Blood Daoist wasn't someone who liked to kill, so he naturally took away the countless treasures of the Nine Heavens sect. These were his spoils of war. The last to return to Wanxiang City were Zhu Galiang and the three sages. There were many experts from the Celestial Palace, and they fled in all directions. It took a lot of time to chase after them. Moreover, when the Celestial Palace was destroyed, a mysterious person appeared and wanted to rescue some of the core members of the Celestial Palace. However, the three sages of the heaven, earth, and human sages intervened, and those people failed to rescue anyone. In less than a day, Jiyu Fei had seized back the territories he had lost, but would he stop now? Many people were watching. Some felt that it wouldn't be that simple. Even some super forces felt uneasy because nobody knew what kind of earth-shattering things this fierce person would do next. At night, Jiyu Fei and his subordinates discussed in the Wanxiang City's Lord's Mansion. However, they only talked about what had happened in the day and didn't talk about their next step. In less than an hour, Jiyu Fei had sent all his subordinates away, leaving only Jiyu Zhong by his side. Jiyu Ling had already gone off somewhere to go crazy. Jiyu Ling was about to undergo her tribulation. She had been in the quasi-sage realm for a long time, and Jiyu Fei was considering whether he should send her to the heaven realm to undergo her tribulation. The heavenly tribulation Tian 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 was in the sect. The heaven tribulation of the Tian in was that realm. The heavens heaven and earth was in. The great war in the past caused the heavenly Tao of this world to be flawed and incomplete. Naturally, it was easier to undergo the heavenly tribulation in a flawed world. However, Jiyu Fei didn't want Jiyu Ling to undergo the heavenly tribulation in the mortal realm. The heaven realm was a complete world. To undergo the heavenly tribulation, one must undergo the strongest heavenly tribulation. Jiyu Fei had high expectations for his daughter. "Master, who should we start with next?" Jiyu Zhong suddenly said to Jiyu Fei. "Yen, let's talk about it tomorrow." "Oh right, during the time I was not here, you have been following Jiang Renhuang and didn't go back to your family?" Jiyu Fei asked. Unlike Jiyu Fei, who only had two relatives, Yang and Jiyu Ling, Jiyu Zhong had a big family. The Jiyu family of the Sorcererland had moved to a land of immortal spirits and had taken root there. The current family master was Jiyu Zhong. He was a hands-off shopkeeper and almost didn't manage the Jiyu family's affairs, leaving them to the elders. "No, I don't want to interfere too much with the family's affairs," Jiyu Zhong said. "Very good. Don't be distracted by these trivial things. The chaos in the world has appeared. Working hard to improve your cultivation is the right thing to do." Jiyu Fei nodded and said. This disciple of his was doing well. He knew what he needed. However, some people liked to pursue power and lost themselves. They couldn't tell what was the most important thing. Those who neglected the essentials were destined to fail. Jiyu Fei would never be bothered by these trivial things. He was actually a hands-off shopkeeper and let his subordinates do whatever they wanted. He seemed to be very casual, but the things he did were always unexpected. "Yes, Master." Jiyu Zhong nodded and said. "All right, you can leave now." Jiyu Fei waved his hand and said, "Yes." After speaking, Jiyu Zhong left the hall. Only Jiyu Fei was left in the hall. "Who should I start with tomorrow?" Jiyu Fei let out a smile and closed his eyes. He did not say anything further. Time flew by. When the first rays of dawn appeared, a new day had begun. The Wanxiang City gradually became lively. With Jiyu Fei's return, the number of people in the city increased. This time, Ji Yufei did not mobilize a large number of cultivators to attack anyone. Instead, he used a clone. Ji Yufei's clone left the Wanxiang city and soon appeared in front of a city controlled by the Dongfang family. Without hesitation, he flew to the sky above the city. All of you, scram! This city is mine. Ji Yufei's clone roared angrily. The domineering voice instantly spread across the entire city, startling all the living beings in the city. Everyone was shocked. Fellow Daoist, do you know whose territory this is? A figure rushed out from the city lord's mansion and arrived in front of Ji Yufei's clone. He then looked at Ji Yufei's clone coldly and revealed a disdainful smile. It was a young man. At least from his appearance, he looked tall and handsome. In the world of cultivation, a cultivator's appearance did not mean much. Sometimes, an inconspicuous little boy could be an old antique. Haha, do you know who you're talking to? Ji Yufei laughed. I don't care who you are. If you know what's good for you, scram. Otherwise, I'll make you beg for death. The young man said fiercely. At this moment, an old cultivator hurriedly flew over from the sky. I'm sorry. This guy's head was kicked by a donkey. Please don't lower yourself to his level. The old cultivator quickly grabbed the young cultivator's hand and tried to pull him away. Third uncle, what are you doing? Don't stop me from teaching this arrogant guy a lesson, the young cultivator shouted. Ayo, my little ancestor. Chapter 28:16. You really have guts. Ji Yufei looked at the young cultivator with a faint smile. He realized that the young cultivator's cultivation was not low. He was about to become a sage. This. Lord Ji Yu, I hope you won't lower yourself to the level of a child. The old man beside the young cultivator was shocked when he heard Ji Yufei's words. He hurriedly pulled the young cultivator behind him. Third uncle, what's wrong with you? This guy is just an ordinary immortal. I can kill him with one finger. What are you afraid of? The young cultivator pulled the old man in front of him away. Slap. The old man raised his hand and gave the young cultivator a loud slap. Brat, I'm your uncle. If I want you to scram, then scram. Why are you being so long-winded? The old man was furious. The young cultivator was stunned by the slap. He covered his face and looked at the old man in disbelief. Lord Ji Yu, please forgive me. Just treat this brat as a fart and let him go. The old man begged Ji Yufei. Third uncle, you. The young cultivator was so angry that he almost fainted. Why did his third uncle have to be so submissive to this guy? He could not believe it. He was the only son of the city lord and had the responsibility to chase away those troublemakers. Ji Yufei looked at the scene with interest but did not say anything. T. Do you know who this lord is? You brat. The old man pretended to hit him again. This person's surname is Ji Yu. The young cultivator suddenly came to his senses. His forehead began to sweat and his expression changed. Could this guy really be that person? At the thought of this, the young cultivator's legs trembled. His calves and stomach were spinning and he almost fell from the sky. Didn't you want to kill me with one finger? Come on, I'll stand here and let you do whatever you want. Let's see if you can kill me. Ji Yufei looked at the young cultivator and said calmly. The young cultivator almost fainted. Brat, kowtow and apologized to Lord Ji Yu. The old man pressed the young cultivator's head down. Ji Yufei, what kind of hero is bullying a child? At this moment, a voice came from the city lord's mansion. Then, a figure walked out of the mansion unhurriedly. This was an old man, an elder of the Dongfang family. Ji Yufei had seen him before. Haha, I never said I was a hero. Ji Yufei smiled. All of you, step down. There's nothing for you to do here. The old man soared into the sky and said to the old man and the young man. Yes, clan elder. The uncle and nephew hurriedly retreated. Ji Yufei didn't say anything. He didn't really want to make things difficult for the uncle and nephew. He just thought it was fun and nothing else. After all, with his cultivation and status, he couldn't really lower himself to the same level as these people. If you don't scram, aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? Ji Yufei looked at the Dongfang family elder and said indifferently, "I am, but I know you don't dare." The Dongfang family elder said coldly, "There's really nothing in this world that I don't dare to do." Ji Yufei's expression turned cold. Hearing Ji Yufei's words, the Dongfang family elder's expression changed. This fella was famous for being fierce. If he really angered this fella would really kill him. Even though Ji Yufei promised Ghost Emperor Fengju that he wouldn't start a war with the Dongfang family, the Dongfang family elder was still uncertain at this moment. "Do you want to start a war with my Dongfang family?" The Dongfang family elder said in a deep voice. "There's no one who doesn't pay the price for offending me. You guys have gone too far this time, so you must be punished. Dongfang family, hand over a dozen cities and this matter will be over." Ji Yufei said coldly. "A dozen cities?" The Dongfang family elder was both shocked and angry. "Have you forgotten our agreement?" The Dongfang family elder's expression turned ugly. This fella asked for a dozen cities right off the bat. This fella was simply asking for an exorbitant price. If you don't agree, then let's start a war." Ji Yufei sneered. "You." The Dongfang family elder was furious. He knew that Ji Yufei wouldn't let it go just like that, but he didn't make a move. He wasn't afraid of Ji Yufei coming to settle the score. "All right, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. Scram." As Ji Yufei spoke, he waved his hand and the elder from the Dongfang family immediately flew out. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. No one knew where he had flown to. Boom. 1,000 miles away from the city, in the depths of a mountain range, a loud sound could be heard. A mountain peak collapsed and rocks flew everywhere, causing chaos in the mountain range. Then, a man crawled out from the rubble with his face covered in dirt. "So scary," the man muttered to himself. His voice was trembling. Even someone as powerful as him couldn't withstand a single blow from this person. This person's cultivation was even stronger. He didn't know that the person who came was not Ji Yufei's real body, but a clone of Ji Yufei. If he knew that this was only a clone of Ji Yufei, he would be even more shocked. The Dongfang family elder then soared into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. He had to send this news back to the Dongfang family's ancestral land as soon as possible. At this time, Ji Yufei directly took action and threw all the people of the Dongfang family out of the city. Then, he went to another city and used the same method to chase away the people of the Dongfang family. He didn't start a massacre because he was already very restrained. If he didn't promise Ghost Emperor Fengju, many people of the Dongfang family would have died today. Since he had promised Ghost Emperor Fengju, Ji Yufei couldn't go back on his word. He only wanted territory and didn't want to kill people. This was his bottom line. However, if someone wanted his life, then he would be embarrassed and would have to kill them. In just half a day, Ji Yufei directly attacked 13 cities under the control of the Dongfang family. The news spread and once again shook the cultivation world of the eastern region. Ji Yufei was really unscrupulous in his actions. At this time, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King didn't come out of seclusion. In the entire Dongfang family, no one was Ji Yufei's opponent, so they could only swallow their anger. After taking down 13 cities of the Dongfang family, Ji Yufei didn't make any more moves. However, very quickly, he appeared in the territory of the Zhao family of the Desolate Antiquity. He also took down 9 cities of the Zhao family of the Desolate Antiquity. The people of the Zhao family of the Desolate Antiquity also suffered in silence. They didn't dare to take the risk of starting a war with Ji Yufei, so they could only choose to remain silent. In just one day, Ji Yufei took down 22 cities. His territory had more than doubled, which shocked everyone to the extreme. Chapter 28:17. Ji Yufei's way of doing things was actually very simple. If you eat my things, spit them out. If you take my things, not only do you have to return them, you have to leave your hands behind as well. Although the Dongfang family and the Zhao family didn't openly seize Ji Yufei's territory, everyone knew that they were the masterminds behind the scenes. The Nine Yin cult and the other 2 great sects were nothing more than cannon fodder. This time, the Dongfang family lost 13 cities, and they suffered a lot because Jiu Fei didn't start a massacre against the people of the Dongfang family. He was still very restrained. As for the Zhao family, losing 9 cities wasn't a big deal. They could still afford it. However, there were some people in the Dongfang family and the Zhao family who were unconvinced. What right did Jiu Fei have to seize their territories? Moreover, he was brazenly robbing them. He was simply a bandit. However, Jiu Fei's ferocious reputation was out there. Although these people were unconvinced, they didn't dare to find trouble with Jiu Fei. There were people in the Dongfang family who wanted to ask the Eastern Sky Tyrant King to come out, but he was in seclusion. No one dared to disturb him, not even the elders of the Dongfang family. There were people who wanted to ask Ghost Emperor Fengju to come out and uphold justice, but they couldn't even find the Ghost Palace. However, other than Ghost Emperor Fengju and the Eastern Sky Tyrant King of the Dongfang family, there were still people in the human world who could fight against Jiu Fei. In the great danger zones of the human world, there were extremely powerful existences. In the immortal devil abyss of the northern lands, some people saw the figures of primordial gods and devils roaming about. In the depths of the danger zone of the southern mountains, there were also the figures of powerful existences moving about. In the depths of the eastern region sky ruins, there was a terrifying and monstrous aura. There were extremely powerful existences reviving, and even the ancient road to heaven ascension was affected. In the extreme west of West Earth, there were also terrifying auras surging out from time to time, causing the Buddhist sects to be very nervous. Even Great Monk Heavenly Fa was alarmed. Some powers wanted to make contact with the extremely powerful existences in the danger zone, but the results were minimal. The existences in the danger zone didn't put the cultivators of the outside world in their eyes. The Dongfang family and the Primordial Era's Zhao family had both sent people into the depths of the sky market to interact with the living beings there. In the depths of the sky market, there was an indescribable aura enveloping the region within a radius of several thousand miles. That was a forbidden land. Any living creature that barged into that region would be trapped inside, never to come out again. No one knew whether those who had barged in were dead or alive, because no one could walk out of it. After unrelenting efforts, the life forms in the Heavenly Ruins Forbidden Zone had actually come into contact with them. This caused the leaders of the 2 superpowers to be pleasantly surprised. On this day, at dusk, outside the Heavenly Market's Forbidden Zone, a figure flew over from afar and landed on a mountain peak. It was a black-clothed, middle-aged man. The black-clothed middle-aged man emanated a powerful aura of the Saint Tao, and it was obvious that he was a saint. He frowned as he gazed at the dim world before him. After that, the black-clothed middle-aged man sent a voice transmission to the region ahead. Soon, a blurry figure suddenly appeared in the area in front of them. It seemed to be a shadow that could be blown away by a gust of wind. "Why have you come?" the blurry figure said, 2 blue dots flashing in his eyes. "My clan has a great enemy, and I would like to ask fellow Daoist to help me slay that great enemy." The black-clothed middle-aged man directly stated his intentions. I never thought that there would come a day when the great primordial Zhao family would have to ask others for help. The shadow said with a sneer. It knew the origin of this black-robed middle-aged man. To help or not to help? The middle-aged man in black said indifferently. As long as you can pay the price, there's no one we can't kill. In the Forbidden Zone, the mysterious black shadow said proudly. The black-clad middle-aged man thought inwardly that this fella really had some big words. However, when he thought about how the other party was a restricted region creature, mysterious and unfathomable, perhaps he really might be able to help kill that fella. "Tell me, what will it take for you to help?" The black-clothed middle-aged man said straightforwardly. "A pseudo-immortal divine medicine. As long as you bring us a pseudo-immortal divine medicine, we can kill anyone for you." The black shadow in the forbidden area said. "What? Quasi-immortal godly medicine?" The black-clothed middle-aged man on top of the mountain couldn't help but be shocked. This fella really dared to name a price. A pseudo-immortal divine medicine? Ridiculous. One should know that pseudo-immortal divine medicines were not ordinary divine medicines. There were so many of them in the human world. There were definitely less than 10 pseudo-immortal divine medicines in the entire human world. No, a pseudo-supreme sacred tool is fine too. The black shadow in the forbidden area pondered and said. This, the black-clothed middle-aged man was speechless. A pseudo-supreme sacred tool, ridiculous. Although a pseudo-supreme sacred tool was not as rare as a pseudo-immortal divine medicine, there were only one or two of such sacred tools even in the primordial Zhao family. They were the ultimate treasures of the primordial Zhao family. Phut, you don't have anything, and you still dare to ask us to help you kill your great enemy? The black shadow in the forbidden area said with disdain. On top of the mountain, the black-clothed middle-aged man's face instantly darkened. He didn't say anything more. That's it then. Bring us the item, and we will help. The black shadow in the forbidden area said and immediately retreated. The saint from the primordial Zhao family stood for a while, then turned around and left as well. A pseudo-immortal divine medicine was definitely not something that could be taken out. Even if they did, they would not take it out. As for the quasi-supreme saint weapon, while the Zhao family of the desolate antiquity did possess one, they would never take it out. After all, that was the ultimate treasure of the Zhao family, and it could not be used easily. Even if the family head wanted to use the ultimate treasure of the Zhao family, he would need the unanimous consent of all the elders of the Zhao family. Most importantly, only a small portion of the primordial Zhao clan wanted to deal with Ji Yufei. Most of the people did not want to provoke this ferocious person. Ever since Ji Yufei and the old tortoise joined hands to destroy the forbidden area, Ji Yufei's actions in the heaven realm had also spread to the human world. The news that the West Dark Sea was destroyed by Ji Yufei and the old tortoise had caused a sensation in the human world. Some people found it hard to believe. However, it was an indisputable fact that the West Dark Sea had been destroyed. The old tortoise had even set up a checkpoint on the other side of the ancient road to heaven, charging a certain fee for entering and exiting the heaven realm. This was definitely the old tortoise's style. After working so hard to destroy the forbidden area of the West Dark Sea, how could he not get some benefits back? After the saint from the primordial Zhao family left, another figure arrived outside the forbidden area of the sky market. It was a white-robed young man. He stood high in the sky and transmitted his voice to the forbidden area of the sky market. Soon, the black shadow that had retreated to the depths of the forbidden area appeared again. What's going on today? The little guy from the Zhao family just left, and now the little guy from the Dongfang family is here. The black shadow muttered to himself. Senior, sorry to disturb you. The white-robed young man cupped his hands and said to the figure in the forbidden area. He was much more polite than the middle-aged man from the Zhao family. You know that you're disturbing me, yet you still come. The mysterious black shadow said in a bad mood. I really have no other choice, so I came to ask for your help, the white-robed young man said awkwardly. It was his first time dealing with a creature from the forbidden area. The creature was extremely powerful and mysterious, so he did not dare to be careless. You're not here to ask me to kill someone, are you? The black shadow in the forbidden area said tentatively. Haha, senior, you're really amazing. You can foresee things in advance. The white-robed young man said with a smile. Foresee my ass. The black shadow in the forbidden area said to himself. What? The white-robed young man outside the forbidden area did not hear the black shadow's words clearly. All right, let's cut the crap. If you want me to help you kill someone, it's actually very simple. Prepare a quasi-immortal divine medicine or a quasi-supreme sacred implement. I'll help you kill them, no matter who they are. The black shadow directly stated the conditions for his help. The white-robed young man was dumbfounded. Quasi-immortal divine medicine or quasi-supreme sacred implement. Who could casually take out such things? The Dongfang family was a cultivation family that had once produced a human emperor. Naturally, the Dongfang family had a quasi-supreme saint artifact. However, the quasi-supreme saint artifact of the Dongfang family was not something that could be used casually. Senior, please let me go back and think about it. The white-robed young man said. All right, got it. The black shadow in the forbidden area said and directly disappeared into the void. Quasi-immortal divine medicine or quasi-supreme sacred implement. The white-robed young man said to himself, then turned around and left. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the horizon. Not everyone could take out a quasi-immortal divine herb or a quasi-supreme sacred tool, but the enmity between Eastern Century and Gu Fei had already reached the point of irreconcilable enmity. Some people in the Dongfang family would definitely eliminate Gu Fei at all costs. However, the Zhao family of the ancients was different, because the grudge between the Zhao family and Gu Fei had already been settled. It was just that some people in the Zhao family were not convinced. It was not worth it for the Zhao family of the ancients to take out a quasi-supreme sacred implement for the creature in the forbidden area of the heavenly market. The creature in the forbidden area was extremely powerful. Only these creatures could contend against Gu Fei. As long as there was a possibility of killing Gu Fei, the people of the Dongfang family would give it a try. Not long after the white-robed young man left, an elder of the Dongfang family came to the outside of the forbidden area of the heavenly market. This elder was the one who had been sent flying thousands of miles by Gu Fei with a wave of his hand. The creature in the forbidden area appeared soon after. Its vague silhouette was faintly discernible in the forbidden area. The elder of the Dongfang family did not say anything. He directly took out an item and threw it into the forbidden area in front. It was a huge golden seal that was covered with a layer of hazy golden radiance. On top of the golden ancient seal, there was a powerful aura surging out. This was a quasi-paragon saint artifact that lived up to its name. This golden seal was known as the Human Emperor Seal. "Alright, who do you want me to kill?" The black shadow in the forbidden area caught the golden seal and said. This item was not bad. It was a perfect quasi-supreme sacred implement. Gu Fei. Chapter 28:18. The Dongfang family's Human Emperor's Seal was a quasi-supreme divine tool refined by the Human Emperor before he became an ultimate Emperor Sovereign. It was an incomparably powerful divine tool, second only to the Human Emperor's sword. The Human Emperor's sword was an ultimate Emperor divine weapon, much stronger than a quasi-supreme divine tool. It could even contend against a supreme divine tool. The person you want to kill is called Gu Fei. Very well, wait for my news. The black figure in the forbidden area nodded. Since he had accepted the Human Emperor's seal, he naturally had to act. He didn't expect the Dongfang family to really take out a quasi-supreme divine tool. All right. The elder of the Dongfang family nodded. Gu Fei, you're dead this time. The elder of the Dongfang family clenched his teeth and said. Then, he turned around and left. Gu Fei, in the forbidden zone of the heavenly ruin, the black figure muttered to himself. He looked at the great golden seal in his hand and muttered to himself. The Dongfang family had not hesitated to hand over a quasi-supreme saint weapon for me to kill. I'm afraid that this person won't be easy to kill. Many people knew that in the depths of the heavenly market, there was a forbidden area where extremely powerful creatures from the forbidden area resided. In everyone's eyes, the creatures from the forbidden area were powerful and invincible existences, at least before Gu Fei and the old tortoise flattened the forbidden area of the heavenly realm. One should know that forbidden areas had existed for countless years. Even in the darkest era, no one could flatten the forbidden area. However, the destruction of the Western Dark Ocean was an exception. It broke the legend of the forbidden area. This made everyone realize that the creatures from the forbidden area were not invincible, they could be defeated. On this day, a supreme aura was emitted from the forbidden area of the heavenly market. A creature from the forbidden area walked out. No one could see the appearance of this creature clearly. This forbidden land creature was shrouded in a mass of black smoke, which isolated all divine senses. The fact that a creature from the forbidden area came out caused a huge commotion in the heavenly market. Everyone was guessing why the creature would leave the forbidden area, especially the great powers. One should know that the great powers of the eastern region were not the only ones gathered in the heavenly market. Because of the ancient road to heaven, experts from other regions of the human realm had also gathered here. All the major powers in the human realm had set up temporary bases in the heavenly market. It wasn't just the Ting Long continent. Experts from the other 4 ancient planets in the human realm had also crossed the galaxy and entered the Teng Long ancestral star. Currently, the soaring dragon ancestral star had become a holy land in the eyes of the cultivators from other planets. It was the center of the cultivation world in the human world. As more and more old-timers awoke from their slumber, the ancient paths connecting the 5 ancestral planets were activated. After being sealed for countless years, the ancient paths once again connected the 5 ancestral planets. Even though some of the ancient paths were broken, there were great divine arts practitioners who repaired them. The ancient Kunlun planet had completely declined. However, the reason for its decline was actually very simple. The entire ancient planet had helped a single person, or rather, an ancestor god. The Ziwei ancestral star was still under the control of the Ji clan. He Tian and Ji Changkong were still trapped in the real Ji Fei immortal land. The Ji Fei immortal land had truly great fortunes. He Tian and Ji Changkong had clearly obtained great fortunes. Once they emerged from the ascending immortal land, the entire Ziwei ancestral star would shake because of them. At this time, Wanxiang City was very calm. Ji Fei's territory had more than doubled. This was something worth celebrating. No one had thought that Ji Fei would be so domineering to actually attack the primordial Zhao clan and Dongfang clan. Even though he had restrained himself and didn't hurt anyone, it was still enough to shake the entire eastern region. Savage is truly savage. Someone sighed. Ji Fei had already risen and was no longer afraid of anyone. He was no longer the brat from back then. He had already left everyone in the same generation far behind him. There weren't many geniuses from back then who could survive until now. The cultivation world was a cruel world where the strong preyed on the weak. Even geniuses could fall. Even heavenly sovereigns could be killed in body and soul. Immortality was only relative, not absolute. Ji Fei's display of power made many wandering cultivators in the eastern region, who were still observing, to submit to him. In a short period of time, Wanxiang City was filled with people. It didn't take long for the rogue cultivators to be distributed to the various cities. Ji Fei was in need of manpower to guard these cities. He naturally welcomed the wandering cultivators. Moreover, many of these wandering cultivators were not weak and could take on heavy responsibilities. The heaven, earth, and human saints admired Ji Fei's methods. No one dared to make a sound when the cities of the primordial Zhao clan and Dongfang clan were robbed. The peaceful days didn't last long. Soon, Ji Fei felt a pair of eyes watching him. Preposterous. Ji Fei was both shocked and furious. He couldn't sense who was watching him in the dark, which made him feel uneasy. He immediately summoned Ji Zhong, the Iron Blood Daoist and the others. He also captured Ji Ling, who was playing outside, and locked her in his inner world. On a moonless night, a black figure entered Wanxiang City without a sound and entered the city lord's mansion without a sound, as if it was an uninhabited place. Even the heaven, earth, and human saints, who were guarding outside the city lord's mansion, didn't sense the arrival of this mysterious existence. Just as the mysterious existence floated into the main hall of the city lord's mansion like a black fog, Ji Fei, who was sitting on the throne in the middle of the hall, suddenly opened his eyes. It was as if 2 bolts of lightning had flashed across the hall, instantly illuminating it. Although it was only for a short moment, it was enough to expose everything. You finally couldn't help but jump out, huh? Ji Fei said as he looked at the black figure standing in the hall. He instinctively felt that this person was very powerful and different from all the opponents he had met before. This is, Ji Zhong and the Iron Blood Daoist, who were standing on both sides of the throne, were extremely shocked. They didn't sense the mysterious black figure when it entered the hall. This was enough to prove that the other party's cultivation was far above theirs. I didn't expect the person I want to kill to be so powerful. It seems like I'm going to lose money on this deal, the black figure said calmly. The black shadow said indifferently. It was as if it didn't have a physical body and was just a wisp of black smoke. However, Ji Fei knew that this fellow was extremely dangerous. Haha, you want to kill me? Who invited you? Ji Fei said with a smile. This fellow wasn't a demon, an immortal, or a saint. It seemed to be a creature that he had never seen before, and it was extremely powerful. I'll tell you the moment I chop off your head. Chapter 28:19. The mysterious black shadow in the heavenly market's forbidden zone was finally going to make a move. On a dark and windy night, the forbidden zone's life form silently entered the Wanxiang city's city lord's residence without alerting anyone. It was as though it had entered an uninhabited place. "You want to kill me? Ha ha," Ji Yufei burst into laughter. However, at that moment, Ji Yuzhong and the Iron-Blood Daoist, who were standing on both sides of the throne, wore extremely grim expressions. After all, this guy was actually able to enter the city lord's mansion of Wanxiang City without alerting the three saints of heaven, earth, and man. This was enough to prove that the cultivation of this sneaky guy was definitely above the three saints of heaven, earth, and man. One must know that innate Du Yu of the three saints was a saint king. Could this guy be a saint venerable if he could enter the Lord's mansion without alerting Du Yu? Ji Yuzhong and the Iron-Blood Taoist shivered. "What's so funny? It's not like I haven't killed people like you before." The black figure shrouded in black mist said indifferently. "What?" Hearing this, Ji Yufei's eyes immediately emitted a gaze as sharp as the edge of a blade. An incomparably powerful aura erupted from his body and pressed towards the figure in front of him. Rumble. The void was shaking. Although it was an invisible aura, Ji Yuzhong and the Iron-Blood Taoist felt a great pressure and almost couldn't breathe. The black figure in the black mist sneered and allowed Ji Yufei's aura to affect his body as if nothing had happened. "You've killed people like me before." Ji Yufei's voice became extremely cold. He clearly knew what the other party meant. This guy had killed cultivators like him before. This was not a good thing for Ji Yufei. "What's so strange about it? You're much stronger than that guy, but so what? You still have to die," the black figure said. "All right, I'm here. Come and try killing me." Ji Yufei looked coldly at the black figure in the hall and said. Swoosh. The black shadow made its move. A huge black hand came out of the black fog and grabbed at Ji Yufei, who was sitting on the throne. Ji Yufei felt an extremely strong suction force enveloping him in an instant, trying to pull him towards the big hand that was grabbing him. Shua. Ji Yufei pointed a finger, and a beam of divine light rushed out from his right index finger, instantly piercing through the black hand that was trying to grab him. The huge black hand dissipated in the void and turned back into black fog. Then, it flew back towards the black shadow. "Eat my palm." After saying that, Ji Yufei unleashed a palm strike at the black silhouette in the hall. A huge palm instantly enveloped the entire hall, trapping the black silhouette beneath it. The mysterious black shadow also struck out with his palm, and a huge black hand soared into the sky. Boom! With a loud bang, the two huge hands collided with each other like two huge mountains colliding, causing an extremely powerful shockwave to erupt. In the next moment, the entire City Lord's mansion was almost shattered by the mighty shockwave. Runes appeared on the walls and ground of the City Lord's mansion, dispelling the mighty shockwave. At this moment, the entire Wanxiang city shook violently. Everyone in the city was scared out of their wits. An extremely powerful aura suddenly exploded from the City Lord's mansion, alarming all the cultivators in Wanxiang City, especially the heaven, earth and man sages who were guarding outside Wanxiang City. What's going on? The heaven, earth and man sages were extremely shocked. Is someone really trying to harm Ji Yufei? Boom. In the next moment, two figures broke through the roof of the City Lord's mansion and soared into the sky. In an instant, they entered the starry sky and started fighting. Rumble. The mighty shockwave from the two figures shook the entire starry sky. Although they were very far away from Wanxiang City, the mighty aura of the two experts still descended from the starry sky. "I have to admit that you're really powerful." The mysterious black figure stood in the starry sky and said to Ji Yufei. An extremely powerful aura exploded from its body, causing the starry sky to tremble. Countless stars seemed like they were going to fall at any time. At this moment, Ji Yufei's body was brimming with primal chaos aura. 9 primal chaos Dao patterns emerged on his body, and a supreme martial aura was emitted from his body, causing the starry sky to tremble. "Cut the crap," Ji Yufei said coldly. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in the sky above the mysterious black figure. Then, he stomped down. A destructive force immediately surged out from his feet and obliterated the mysterious black figure. This was the 8 kill steps. It was a simple combat skill, but it could display an extremely powerful combat power. Bang! The mysterious black figure sank a few thousand feet from Jiu Fei's stomp and turned into a cloud of black fog. However, the black fog did not dissipate. Instead, it condensed again and turned into a black figure. This fellow did not seem to have a body of flesh and blood. However, how was this possible? A living creature without a body of flesh and blood was actually so powerful. Where did this fellow come from? Who had invited this fellow to come here? The living creatures in the Forbidden Zone were mysterious and unfathomable. No one had ever seen the true appearance of the living creatures in the Forbidden Zone of the Sky Ruin. What's going on? Is this fellow just a cloud of black fog? Jiu Fei found it hard to believe. At this moment, the mysterious black figure had already soared into the sky and attacked Jiu Fei. The black fog surged and turned into 9 black chains, entangling Jiu Fei. The clanging sounds did not stop. The 9 black chains were like 9 black snakes, instantly entangling Jiu Fei's body. Then, they suddenly tightened, binding him like a dumpling. Black Dao patterns circulated on the 9 black chains. A black flame emerged from the black chains. Immediately, Jiu Fei was enveloped by the black flames that emerged from the black chains. It was a terrifying type of flames of the way. It burned the void until it was annihilated silently. That's all you've got. The black figure came in front of Jiu Fei and said coldly. From its point of view, this fellow called Jiu Fei was already a dead man when he was bound by the black chains. Chmph. You think you can kill me with such a method? Are you overestimating yourself or underestimating me? Jiu Fei's voice came from the black flames. What? The mysterious black figure was shocked. It had never imagined that Jiu Fei could actually resist its flames of the way. Jiu Fei's body and soul were not burned to ashes by its flames of the way. Boom! The next moment, an extremely powerful martial arts power erupted from the black flames. The 9 black chains that were entangling Jiu Fei's body were broken. At the same time, the black flames that enveloped Jiu Fei also dispersed. Chapter 2820. Jiu Fei displayed the ultimate battle prowess of a holy venerable. Not only did he break the black chains around him, but he also grabbed the mysterious shadow in his hand. Roar! In the starry sky, a figure that was much taller than a mountain roared at the sky. The entire starry sky was shaking, and stars were falling. Jiu Fei displayed the universal law and grabbed the mysterious shadow with his right hand. A ball of divine fire of chaos appeared in his palm. His palm seemed to have turned into a furnace, trying to refine the mysterious shadow. What? The mysterious creature from the Forbidden Zone was extremely shocked. It never thought that Jiu Fei would be so powerful. It seemed that the quasi-paragon saint weapon of the Dongfang clan was not so easy to obtain. If it had known that this guy called Jiu Fei was so difficult to deal with, it probably would not have accepted this deal. Rumble, 9 chaotic runes appeared on Jiu Fei's right hand, directly sealing the void around the mysterious shadow. The divine fire of chaos surged towards it from all directions. Roar! The mysterious black shadow roared again and again. Mysterious runes rushed out of the black shadow's body and imprinted themselves in all directions, blocking the chaos flames that were coming at them. However, the 9 chaos Dao patterns were still gradually suppressing the mysterious black shadow. The void around the mysterious black shadow was constantly shrinking. The mysterious shadow was extremely shocked. It could not think of a way to escape at this moment. At this time, Xiao Chen was also very shocked. This mysterious creature was really powerful. If it was an ordinary holy venerable, it would not be able to kill it even if it had 10 lives. However, this mysterious creature could fight endlessly with him. Now that it was being suppressed by the power of the 9 runes, it was still resisting stubbornly. It's just a deathbed struggle. Jiu Fei said. With a thought, he attracted the power of the stars in the entire starry sky to his body. Rays of starlight gathered towards him from all directions, turning into a powerful force that surged towards his right hand. Very soon, The divine fire of chaos that appeared on Jiyu Fei's right hand changed. Specks of starlight appeared within the divine fire, as if a starry sky was evolving. The power of the divine fire of chaos instantly multiplied. Rumble. The void that was sealed by Jiyu Fei's right hand was shaking violently. 9 primordial chaos Dao patterns kept pressing down on the mysterious black shadow. The appearance of the power of stars was like a starry sky that was pressing down on the mysterious black shadow. The chaotic force and the star force intertwined, causing the mysterious shadow to feel a great pressure. The runes that rushed out of the mysterious black shadow dissipated into the void, and the mysterious power that was surging out of the black shadow's body was constantly being worn away. Damn it! The mysterious black shadow roared and seemed to have made up his mind. A mass of black light burst out from the mysterious black shadow. In the next moment, the void was annihilated, and a terrifying destructive power emerged. The 9 primal chaos Dao patterns that emerged from Jiyu Fei's hand were actually destroyed by that power. The void was collapsing, and the terrifying destructive power that had suddenly expanded suddenly shrank inwards. Then, it turned into a powerful devouring power that devoured everything around it. Jiyu Fei's hand was instantly devoured by the devouring power that had suddenly appeared. Be it chaotic force or star force, they were all devoured into the black hole. How dare you! You've made me lose a spiritual body. Just you wait, I'll come back for you again. A voice sounded in Jiyu Fei's heart. What? Hearing that, Jiyu Fei was really shocked. The mysterious figure that had been fighting with him was actually some kind of spiritual body. It was actually not the other party's real body. It was the first time he had heard of the term spiritual body, but he could imagine that the spiritual body that the mysterious creature was talking about might be an external incarnation or something like a clone that ordinary cultivators cultivated. At this moment, the devouring power from the black hole continued to devour everything in the surroundings. The terrifying ripples of destruction caused the entire region of outer space to tremble. In the void, a series of pitch-black spatial rifts appeared, and the nearby stars were directly swallowed by the mighty devouring force coming out of the black hole. Jiyu Fei directly took a step and traversed hundreds of thousands of kilometers in an instant, avoiding the devouring power. Afterwards, his huge figure that seemed to be able to pluck the stars and grab the moon rapidly shrank, returning to his normal size. He could not help but shiver inside as he looked at the expanding black hole. The mysterious figure's self-destruction actually possessed such terrifying power. It was something that he had not expected. If this had happened in the eastern region and not in outer space, the entire eastern region would have probably been devoured by the black hole. This was a great destruction. It was just too terrifying. Even someone as powerful as Jiyu Fei, who was used to seeing things, could not help but feel shocked. This fellow was really vicious. However, he did not know the origins of this mysterious fellow. This fellow's spiritual body had been forced to self-destruct by him. He believed that the other party's real body would find him soon. It seemed that he had to make proper preparations. If a spiritual body was already so powerful, then the other party's real body would definitely be much more powerful than a spiritual body. This was definitely not a doubt. The black hole in the sky continued to expand. Countless stars were falling and exploding as they were devoured by the black hole. This scene was extremely shocking. Even if the people on the ground looked up at the sky at this moment, they would discover that there were a lot fewer stars in the sky. The starry sky was dim without any light. The black hole formed by the mysterious figure's self-destruction continued to exist in the starry sky for 4 hours before it gradually shrank and disappeared in the void. It was as if it had never appeared in the first place. Jiyu Fei returned to Wanxiang City from outer space. At this moment, an angry roar came from the forbidden zone in the depths of the sky market. It was the roar of an unknown living being. There was also the vague sound of iron chains colliding from the depths of the forbidden zone. All the living beings in the sky market heard the angry roar. All of them felt very uneasy and had a bad feeling in their hearts. Just as the angry roar came from the forbidden zone of the sky market, a figure who was sitting cross-legged on a boulder on a stone mountain outside the forbidden zone suddenly opened his eyes. Could it be that he failed? It was a white-clothed middle-aged man from the Dongfang family. He had been waiting for news outside the Forbidden Zone. However, what he had been waiting for was the roar of the living being in the Forbidden Zone. The white-clothed middle-aged man stood up from the boulder. After thinking for a moment, he soared into the sky and left quickly. At this moment, the news of the battle between Ji Fei and the mysterious expert in the boundless starry sky had already spread. One should know that although the two experts were fighting in the starry sky, some of the powerful beings in the Tenglong continent could still sense the battle in the starry sky. Some people in the Dongfang family were nervous and excited at the same time because only they knew what had happened. However, when the news of Ji Fei's return to the Wanxiang city spread, the people in the Dongfang family could not be happy anymore. Could it be that even the powerful living being in the Forbidden Zone was not a match for Ji Fei? They really wanted to know if Ji Fei had been seriously injured by the living being in the Forbidden Zone. That was a living being in the Forbidden Zone. As long as one could pay the price, it was said that anyone could be killed. However, from the looks of it now, there were times when the words of the living being in the Forbidden Zone could not be trusted. At this time, the Wanxiang city was heavily guarded. However, the Dongfang family still received the news that Ji Fei had been seriously injured during the battle. It would be difficult for him to recover without a year and a half. Haha, good, very good. Although we did not kill Ji Fei, we were able to seriously injure him. This is worth it. When the news reached the Dongfang family, the residents of the elder of the Dongfang family who had suffered at the hands of Ji Fei in the past was filled with laughter. The elder of the Dongfang family wanted to take advantage of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity when Ji Fei was seriously injured by the mysterious living being to take Ji Fei's life. However, who should he invite to take action was a difficult problem. One had to know that Ji Fei was in the Wanxiang city. Wanting to enter the Wanxiang city to assassinate Ji Fei was definitely not an easy task. Moreover, the people of the Dongfang family could not appear because their old ancestor had promised Ghost Emperor Fengju that the human race would temporarily prioritize righteousness and would not start a war with Ji Fei. If the Dongfang family broke the rules first, then Ghost Emperor Fengju would definitely not sit idly by. At that time, the unlucky ones would still be the Dongfang family. This made the elder of the Dongfang family very apprehensive. He did not know that Ji Fei was actually unharmed. He purposely released the news that he was seriously injured by the mysterious living being. He wanted to see who was plotting against him. It was easy to dodge a spear in the open but hard to guard against a stab in the dark. He had to be careful. This time, he wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to lure out those who wanted to harm him. As a result, some people really could not sit still after receiving the news. At this time, the demons in the Eastern Demon Cave were also ready to make a move. Ji Fei had killed their 4 great true demons, so the demons in the Eastern Demon Cave wanted to settle this score with Ji Fei. Normally, it was very difficult for the demons in the Eastern Demon Cave to receive such news because Wanxiang City had been sealed off ever since the battle between Ji Fei and the mysterious living being. How could the demons get this news? This was because someone with ulterior motives leaked the news that Ji Fei was seriously injured by the mysterious living being to the demons in the Eastern Demon Cave. Demons never had any scruples in doing things, unlike the great sects and clans of the human race who had many scruples. On another dark and windy night, a demon figure silently approached Wanxiang City. It was a young man with blood-red hair. He had 2 demon horns on his head and a heart-palpitating aura lingered around him. The young man with blood-red hair arrived on a short mountain outside Wanxiang City. He looked at the city in front of him and saw that the city was brightly lit. Although it was already late at night, there were still many people walking on the streets. The young man with blood-red hair was somewhat surprised. In his blood-red eyes, he saw several surging blood auras in the city in front of him. The exuberant qi and blood enveloped the entire city below. I didn't expect so many human saints to gather here.